humans interfacing with computers
for their own entertainment. The very notion disgusts me.
Look upon my works, foul creatures,
and weep at its magnificence.
Welcome everybody to the latest episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. As always, my name is Alex, aka The Godfather.
My name is Christian, aka Suitable 45.
Name is Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi. Talking over my intro, motherfucker.
I just said needs a nap very quick. You were barely even into it yet. It was so fast. Anyway. I know. So we had big weeks. Before we get to those weeks, though, Preston, we'll do what we always do. Let's hit up that corner and see what's going on over there.
Yeah. I gotta go before you guys, because you guys had a way bigger week than I did.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's fair.
This episode, as always, is sponsored by the Comic Headquarters. If you're looking for a trade paperback or hardcover, the guys over at Comic Headquarters can help. Even if they don't have what you're looking for, they'll offer to order it in for you. Visit comichqstl.com today, where you can contact them and order that trade paperback or hardcover that you've been looking for. Or give them a call at 314-433-5449. Let them know that the Testing Room sent you, and you can get 10% off your order. And I hope you all visit them on Comic Book Day. It was the past weekend, so I hope you guys visit them and help support your local comic book shop at least. Recent get.
Did you hold on a second? Just to clarify, did you say, I hope you go to see them on Free Comic Book Day? It was last weekend.
I said,
because by the time they will have heard this, it will have been
he said went. He said,
behind.
He said, I hope that you went. He used past tense.
Okay. All right. I thought it was like, I hope you go support them. It was last weekend.
It was last weekend. So if you didn't, go over there.
Preston is in his head right now, and he's like, ooh, if Alex makes a mistake, I'm on his ass today.
You better watch him when we get to that System Shock playthrough, motherfucker. All right. As far as gets, well, any one of my new ones have become an alright comics. It's not their fault. Just the comics that came out the past week or so were just kind of alright. Now, we did go to C2E2, which we'll talk about in our weeks. But there was a comic that I bought at Comic Headquarters. I got a blank issue of Constantine, Hellblazer.
No, you said it right the first time. Don't worry about it. We all know what you meant.
We'll talk about it. And then I got Aaron Campbell, who's an artist on that series, did me a nice sweet commish. It's very good. Very, very good. I like the line work on it. Looks fantastic. I love every bit of it. Mm-hmm. Very cool guy. But yeah, that was one of the gets I got from Comic Headquarters a long time ago, and I finally got to have somebody draw on it. In fact, a Constantine artist I got to draw on it.
No, you did it again.
I know, you guys got me back on my bullshit.
I had, so this is a blank, you guys can barely see it. This is a blank I've been working on for years now. I got this blank at Comic HQ years ago as well, and I think I got this added to the blank in 2018.
Okay.
And then these guys in 2020 at C2E2. And then I got some stuff on the back that I'll show as we talk about our C2E2 from this year. So I've been working on that blank for years that I got from Comic HQ.
Yeah, a couple of good ones this weekend. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As far as comments, we did get one little comment from Jakey Poo. He commented in on the last episode. I guess we were talking about Halo, and he said, Christian, I would argue that a study needs to be done on me for playing this godforsaken as much as I do.
Yeah.
I had a thought about Jake yesterday when we were playing. I believe Jake... Does Jake live in an apartment or a house?
House.
I think he lives in a house.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if he rented or if he owned, but there was a moment where... And Christian, I think you were even on the other day when he said something and just, like, yelled it so loud. I was like, man, I hope you have neighbors that
You
could just
can-
hear.
You can bleep this because it'll make it really funny. But he was like, "Are you butt fucking me with your fist in my ass?" Like it was like this whole thing. I was like, I remember I was. He
He
says
was like yelling, like
screams
yelling,
it, and
at the
I was
computer.
like-
It's so funny.
I was like, "Oh my god!" Like, dude, that.
Maybe he should stop playing it for his mental health.
So here's the thing, man. Like this is what I was going to say. I agree that a study does need to be. Here's the thing. I love Halo. I think it's great. It's one of my favorite series. I personally have not experienced any of the foibles that Jake has, especially
I mean, you got some the other day.
I had a single netcode issue, and if I ever left a game after a single netcode issue, I would never be able to play online ever again. Like that, like the idea that a game can't mess up once is fucking. I'm not even going to get into how asinine that is. But that being said, if I experience the level of fuckery that Jake experiences, and especially all of the hard crashes that he experiences, which correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, I know you've had a couple netcode things here and there, but have you ever had hard crashes? Like
Twice. And now that's twice that I can remember since I've gotten in hard with Jake. So was that last September, October, right?
Okay.
Because then, in January I cut my finger and I missed like 3 months. But
Sure.
from the time I got back into it, I've had 2 hard crashes, but that's it. He has almost one a day.
Okay, see, that's... Now, I will never, ever, especially for Jake's physical and mental health, I would never, ever blame him for what's happening. That being said, I personally would... That level of fuckery would make me feel like I was going crazy, where I would look in my home and be like, did somebody put something here? Where's the camera? Like, is somebody doing a prank show on me?
What's funny too is like Jake will never crash, and he can attest to this. It's so ridiculous. We will be playing a game and we'll be going head to head on somebody, and all of a sudden they'll pull away, right? And then we'll end up losing by like 10, 15 kills. So like maybe we're playing bad and they're just overrunning us, and you're pissed because like people aren't dying the way that they're supposed to or whatever. He never hard crashes. But dude, if you put us in the lead, if we're winning, and that's what always happens. Like the other day, he had like 27 kills, and just like we were dominating the team, and just hard crashes, and we still won the game. But like he doesn't get credit for it. Even and, like I was joking, he was like 27-2 or 27-3, and I was like 18-9 or 18-10. But I ended up getting MVP because I had the second most kills, nowhere close, because like he crashed in it. It's just like
So
like
what
it's
I was-
never when
yeah.
we're losing.
So what I would say is, I know he loves Halo a lot. I would garner to say that he probably loves it just as much as I do, if not probably more. And I would never, ever, ever play another Halo game again if it did what that game is doing to him. And I know, we talked about it before, I know the extenuating circumstances as to why he continues to put up with it.
If his
Like,
dad
I
didn't
get
play
it.
that game, he wouldn't be playing that game probably anymore.
But like, man, a very long answer to I agree. Somebody should do a study on the human psyche when Jake is playing this game.
To be fair, I know Jake says like he plays because his dad plays. He has built a community there. Like I've gotten to know a couple of his friends, Scott and Cal. If I'm allowed to say their names, you can bleep them if not. Pretty like I don't know them that well, but like I know them well enough, right? Like they play almost every day, and I've played with them for months now, like almost 6 months now. So he does have a community of people more than just his dad. I do agree. He would probably beg that community to move if his dad didn't play, right? He'd be
Right.
like, please, let's all
do
go play
anything
something else.
Anything else.
But he has a pretty good community that plays on there. But yeah, dude, it was the other day. So we actually played a game right after the update. So like a new season came out and stuff the other day. So you had a big like 13 gig patch. And the first game the four of us played together, we actually had a couple stuff happen to us, like on the positive side. Like I had somebody hammer me straight on and didn't do dick to me. Like it bounced me backwards, but didn't kill me. And I like shot. And then like Jake had like a rocket or somebody go off, or Scott had a rocket go off near them and it didn't kill him. And I was like, boys, the new dawn. If we're gonna be on the receiving end of this stuff, like we will be unstoppable. It lasted
Patch
for one
in your
game.
favor. Yeah.
We
that's
destroyed
how-
that one game and that was it.
But that's how netcode stuff goes. Like there's been times where like I've been playing Street Fighter Online and I'll immediately know I can see the person is from Brazil and I'm like, well, and it's like, okay, now it just depends. Who's the server going to favor? Does it favor me or does it favor the person from Brazil? Am I going to deal with somebody who's going to stand there and not be able to move while I pull off this 18-hit combo? Or is it am I playing the Flash and he's just teleporting all around and there's nothing I can do about it? And you don't know what you're going to get. So the unfortunate thing is that in Jake's case, the netcode usually seems to not favor.
You know, you made a good point. If he's actually crashing all the time, he should maybe check his junction box to make sure somebody hasn't
Now,
just
here's the
like
thing.
has
I
it
will
just
say-
like split off of his shit.
And this is not, again, this is not to blame Jake for anything that's happening because I just
want
want
the
to get out of
wrath?
it. I want to get out of that ahead of time now. That being said, when I lived in St. Louis, it has some of the worst internet that I've ever had in my life, number one. Number two, I do think that he should look around his home for somebody fucking with him. I don't know if somebody fucked up where his internet is getting ran off from. I don't know if they just don't like his house. I mean, whatever it is. But I'd be looking
There
for
could
something.
legitimately be somebody stealing your Wi-Fi, like stealing your internet. That would not, because
I
I've
looked.
seen people in St. Louis split off other people's internet many times.
Yes, and I looked. Like I said, it's very anecdotal, right? But I'm over 250 hours just in Infinite alone, and probably if I add Master Chief Collection, I'm creeping up on 1,000 hours, and I personally can count on one hand the amount of times I've had some weird fuckery happen to me.
Could you imagine if Jake went outside and
Oh,
found
dude, he'll
somebody
kill him.
steal-
He will kill them. He will kill that person. If he finds out that somebody is fucking with his internet in one way or another, he will kill that person. And to whoever you are, if you might be listening to this thinking that this is like a long...
Run.
Stop now. Stop now and fix it before he has a chance to find out who you are. Because if he finds you, he will kill you. He will absolutely kill you.
Yeah, for real.
Because the thing is the netcode stuff can make you go crazy because you'll be sitting there troubleshooting other things that it won't happen to, and the problem is that it's just your connection to those services. Like, Preston and I, for example, we could play 100 matches of Street Fighter and 100 matches of Guilty Gear, and there could be a good chance that 99 matches of Street Fighter would be perfect with only one bad match, but then 50 matches of Guilty Gear would be bad versus 50 matches being good, and you would be like, but it's the same internet. It's like, yeah, but it's all going different places.
Different servers,
like,
yeah.
netcode can be so fucky for each. That's why rollback is such a big thing for fighting games, which we don't have to go into. But yeah, we'll skip it. But I just mean, like, that's why it's such a huge thing, and that's why people push for it so long, is because it helps even that out. But shooters don't have anything like that, and I genuinely don't know that there is a way to solve it. But let me tell you, if Jake finds out that there's a physical component to this problem, he will solve it.
Yeah, you're dead.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
Man.
Amazing. All right. So then, who wants to kick things off with their weeks?
Because you guys
All right.
you guys had a big ass week and I did not do anything. So I finished Euden
I
Chronicles
wouldn't say you didn't
Rising.
do anything.
I mean, I had a really great time. Yes, we went out to Nashville for my wife's birthday. It was great. We had a good time. I didn't really play any games though. When we got back, I continued watching more of the NBA playoffs in the comfort of my own home as opposed to an Airbnb in Nashville. While I was doing that, I finally put the finishing touches on Euden Chronicles Rising, which is the action RPG prequel to Euden Chronicles 100 Heroes, the game that I kickstarted forever ago, that was written by the creator of Suikoden. So that game is out. I got my physical copy. So here's the thing. Got my physical copy in the mail.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I knew going into it, I knew that it was going to be a download code. They had said that forever ago, that they're not doing physical discs, obviously, because for PC that would be silly. And so they'll just be including in a download code. I'm of the opinion that you can bring back disc versions of games for PC,
Sure.
but that's a whole other thing. But it gets here. I look at it, I'm like, that's okay. Right on. I open it up, and it is literally just a cardboard disc with the code on it. No manual, no inside artwork, no nothing.
Ooh.
And I was like, man,
box.
fuck y'all. I was so mad. I was like, whatever.
It would have cost you nothing to do like clear case inside and a picture cover, right?
Like, just
or
do
picture
an art or
inside.
something,
Like,
right? Like, and then like, I'm not even saying the manual has to have anything crazy in it, but give me something.
Put an art book in
Give me
it.
the cover art.
You
Give
could
me
have taken a picture of the
something.
fucking team that built it and just put a picture of them
Anything.
in there and said thanks.
Literally anything. But if they didn't do that, it's whatever. It's fine. I'm not upset about it. I am. But
If you didn't
I
get
got
your
it, I was
hollow
like,
case, it's
cool.
on Game Pass, so you can play it there.
Yeah. So I got that, put the download in, it was good. So I've played just under like an hour of it so far. It's very good so far. It's everything that I had played in the demo, stuff that
That's
I've
great.
shown. And the nice thing is that now that I have a lot of the knowledge of the prequel, it feels like I'm going into this with like extra knowledge of the background stuff now, and so I'm very excited to see how some of the like overworld sort of like politics play out now. But yeah, so that was that, and then I've been playing 14 with Alex. We are grinding out events that they're bringing back from a long time ago because, much to my dismay, they have included 3 mounts in the rewards for this, which means I have to do it, and they included 17 minions, which means Alex has to do it. So
The downside to it all is my minions were far easier to get than the mounts, right? Like, because we got the minions in an hour or two, right? All 17 of them, which sounds ridiculous just the way it's set up. The first mount you get as you collect the 17 minions.
Yeah.
You're like, cool, easy. And they're like, great, now what you need to do is summon the minion beside you, go out and do these world events, and randomly, with the right minion summoned to the right area, you'll get a legendary token. Then when you collect 10 of those tokens, you can turn it in for that minion's weapon. And then you get 2 more mounts when you get to 13 weapons and 17 weapons. And we're on
Okay.
that stage.
All right.
Oh boy.
yeah, so we're working on that part, and it's been a blast. But
It has been fun, actually.
Yeah,
Just
it has,
no,
yeah.
it's been
Yeah,
fun.
We're just grinding stuff out. And we're experiencing content that we've never done because Alex and I never ran Fates because we respected ourselves in our time way more than that. But people run Fates to get XP without having to do dungeons. I don't know why you would do that, but that's, whatever. I'm trying to think. If there's
We've gotten some
anything
minions
else.
off of it too, which is kind of cool. Like other random things. So like
And
there.
we already have a dastardly plot about what we're going
We
to do
do.
with those minions, and I will not be saying it on air, but when it happens, there will be signs.
I'll say it. We are going to simultaneously purposely short stock the video game economy. We're going to crash it, and then we are going to turn around and only sell them provided and supplied by us at a higher cost. Supply and demand, baby.
Psycho, baby.
And I'll be the supply and the demand.
We will. Yeah, we have created the virus and the antidote. Is essentially what will have happened.
Yeah.
Sorry about it.
Yeah. But Daddy needs a new house. But yeah, so I've just been playing that, Eden Chronicle when I'm just hanging out, and that's it. That's it. That was my week.
Nice.
Oh, and
I'll
the
go
game,
next.
the game we're here to talk about, by the way.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, which was probably a big part of your week too, because our play session was
All
not
of our
short.
weeks.
So
too long, some would say.
yeah, we'll talk about it later. I like it. I enjoy the game. It's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, I played with games like Christian just said. I mean, I've been putting a lot of time into Final Fantasy, doing two things: what the event that he's talking about, as well as getting all of my characters geared to the level that I want them geared for the expansion. I am getting so hyped with Dawn Trail. It could not be coming at a better time. Like, it's coming right on the tail end of me, I guess, or in the middle of me of just like so bought in. When I sit down today, it's like, what do I want to play? Like, that is the game I want to play, right? So like, I'm so excited for the new expansion. I played the game that we're going to talk about. And then I made a little bit more progress on Like a Dragon. Not too much story-wise, but I completed like all of the Crazy Taxi mini game and like to S rank on everything and stuff like that. And just that game is both amazing and frustrating. It's so well done, which makes it amazing. It's frustrating because like I get on and I go, I could do the story. Or I could just do all this other side stuff that I find equally as fun. So that game will take me a while, but I'm enjoying every part of it. And I think that's all that I've played, now that I think about it. But, as, you know, Christian said, Preston and I went to C2E2.
Yay.
So, yeah, Comic-Con Entertainment Expo in Chicago, which is among one of the biggest. Like, everybody knows San Diego Comic-Con. Everybody knows New York Comic-Con. Those are the biggest. And then you have other ones at like the second tier, which are like C2E2, Orlando MegaCon. You have Seattle's Emerald City Comic-Con. But they still pull in 300,000 people in a weekend. Like, they're massive.
Big shows.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
Big shows. It's mostly, it has everything. So like, because entertainment, there's cosplayers, there's video game sections.
Yeah,
We saw
arcade
LARPers.
section. Yeah.
Dude, okay, so also, I'll talk about that in a second. We saw LARPers, there's autographs and photo ops. Of course, there's also just like all the artists you want if you're a comic fan, and then swag, right? Like vendors selling their stuff, custom controllers, all kinds of awesome stuff. There's so much there. Dude, we were walking around when we made it to the LARPer section, like around the back.
Yeah.
And Preston and I was laughing because like, there's a bunch of people. They're just going at it with their foam swords, right? And then you see one dude walking around the side, twirling his sword around himself like a ninja, just warming up.
Yeah.
You could tell. It was like the Brad Pitt moment in Troy, where everybody's like just yelling Achilles and they're doing their own thing, and he just comes out like stabs you, and then
Great movie.
yeah,
Great movie.
Great scene. Like literally, he's just spinning it around his back and everything, and you can just like,
You know that's in his head too. Like whatever his name is, like his name's like Garrett probably, and he's like Garrett. Like everybody's chanting, and he's just like in a moment.
You know, everyone there knows him too. Like they do,
Oh,
and
that's
you
that
could just
bad motherfucker.
Yeah, you can just see it. So, but we had a good time. We had a great time walking around. I will say, you know, I'll talk about my experience and Preston talk about his. I was there the day before and with Preston. The one great thing about having Preston there is that like I had artists that I wanted to see. It's a face. Other than just seeing Preston. The other great thing of having Preston there. I saw the artists that I wanted to see and talk to some vendors of like that I know and stuff, and that was great. But Preston had a whole different set of artists that he wanted to see and writers that he wanted to see. And we just had amazing conversations with everybody. Like that's the cool thing about these cons, especially some of the people, I won't say that are like smaller, but there's just so many artists and writers there that span the gamut of like been doing it for 60 years, been doing it for 10 years, do Marvel, but also do independent, right? So like you span the gamut. And because of that, you can walk up on an artist or a writer table and like nobody else is there, and you can just strike up a conversation. And we met some of the like most lovely people in the industry that were just there to like shoot the shit with you, and they were more than happy to talk about their stuff. And that was great, right? Because like the artists that I wanted to see, a couple of them I've even met before. So like that's a cool experience, but I met a lot of new ones through Preston, just chit-chatting, and that was awesome. There was one artist that I wanted some signatures from for Graded Comics, and she was there. She was very sweet. She said she was not doing commissions on drawings. I shot my shot anyway. She politely shot me down, kind of, generally politely.
She was having a weekend. Like I saw her Instagram like the next day. Like it was like from Friday, and she was exhausted on Friday. I'm like, Okay, I can see why she had that kind of attitude on Saturday. She was just tired and done.
I don't think that she is a very social person, and I get it.
Sure.
I am an introvert, so like after one day of 8 hours of people talking to me about the same stuff, I would probably want to murder myself too, right? She came off to me that she was an introvert, so because of that, I would assume I was probably the 300th person to ask her the same question. And she politely said, hey, I appreciate you wanting me to draw on this comic. My best advice to you would be go fill it with other people. Like straight up. Like it's never going to happen.
And the dude next to her was like, yeah, get another grail. I'm like, okay, you didn't need a shirt, buddy. You didn't need to say anything.
Yeah, he was more of an a-hole than her. She was very nice. She explained why. Yeah. She said she had a bad experience. She told us about it. So she was still very sweet about it. But nice. I took her advice, and I just went and got a couple other drawings. So my comic here, the blank, and I'm debating on what to do with it. Maybe you guys can help too. We'll see. So I started off the front, right? And it started with Miko Saiwan here, who did Batman. He's an amazing black and white artist. He does color too, but he's like known for his black and white work, does awesome stuff. Tyler Kirkham did Bane on this Batman cover. He's known for like big wrestling style, like over the top kind of characters. He just started his own label. I was lucky to get him when I did, and I got help from my old comic shop owner friends, because now that he started his label, is also one of those guys that's like getting big for my britches. So like, good luck, right? Greg Horn did a little Harley Quinn over here. It's fine. It's fine. He's always there. He does good stuff though. And then down below had Ryan Kincaid do a Poison Ivy. He also did a great job. He's a great guy too. But on the back this year, I am so excited about these.
You got some good ones, yeah.
I got some good ones and some artists I really like. So the first one is Elias Chasudis, who is, I believe he's Italian. He did this amazing Catwoman, and the crazy thing is he charged me like $50. I was like, hey man, do you have time to draw on this? And this is the great thing about what I'm doing. He's like, I'm booked all weekend. And I'm like, I totally understand. I love you. Like, I've been following your stuff for years on Instagram. Like, I love your covers. I can't wait to have you draw on this one day. And I was like, I'm doing a jam piece where a bunch of artists are contributing to it. And as soon as I said that, he's like, can I see it? And I showed it to him, and he goes, I'll fit you in. Leave it here and come back in an hour. And I was like, dope. I was like, it doesn't have to be big. You can put it anywhere. And the cool thing about this is I have not told anybody what character to draw. And I haven't told them the style. So it's all in their style and what they want to do, which I think adds to it. And he goes, can I do Catwoman? I was like, your choice, man, you do it. And I brought it back, or I came back in an hour, and that is much more art than $50 worth. And he was like, he cracked me up too. He's kind of known for the pinup thing. And he was like, I had to make it a little bigger because,
my style.
He did the whole bust, right? Like, not just the face, like a whole bust. It's incredible, though. Like, the black and white detail is fantastic. Yeah. This one, David Nakayama, also incredible.
Nice
we talked to him. His booth, very nice guy. He was also doing sketches and autographs. I got him to sign a comic with Rogue on it. Looks great. Same thing. I was like, hey, can you do a sketch? He's like, absolutely. Can you pick it up tomorrow? I was like, nope, I'm going to be gone. And he's like, you know what? I'll fit you in. Come back tonight. And he fit me in. And then at the same booth, Anna Zal, this one,
she was awesome.
She did, who was also so sweet. So she did Punchline. She asked if she could do color. I said, absolutely. Anybody could have done color if they wanted. I think because Miko did black and white, everybody's done black and white since. I love her pop of color, so I'm so excited. Now, here's the question. Because, like, I'm almost full, right? Like, people can put detail, and maybe I'll have people, like, if I see people again, hey, would you like to throw some Joker ha-has? Would you like to do a Batman logo? Like, something to fill in some space. Back here, I really only have room for, like, one, right? One
or two,
there.
yeah, depending.
So do I get this filled in, put it back in this magnetic clear case that I have, or get it graded, right? I could get it graded. Not as like a rating for like to sell it, not for like a 10 or a 9.8, but they have separate grading for custom artwork. But with that, it's like UV protected and stuff. So I know it'll look nice. It'll look like these other ones over here with a different color label, right? I can see the front and I can see the back. Perfect. Or, because the inside's blank, do I put it in this magnetic one that opens up and have people then start drawing on the inside too? So the question is, do I fill it, or do I just get the front and the back done and leave it? Because it's just for me. Like, I'm not going to resell it, right?
Me personally, what I would do as somebody who's not like a giant, like I'm not in it like you guys are, I'd get that motherfucker filled the whole way through.
Yeah.
Because that's what Ali said too.
If you're gonna get graded and everything like that, you're gonna want to put it on your shelf, or you're not gonna see the back of it. So it's like, well, are you gonna turn it over every time it comes over? Like, no, you're gonna have it out, like have it in that.
I think but then I still think it's worth it to then go and be like, look at all of this custom Batman artwork that I've gotten from however many different artists that you end up being
over the
able
years,
to fit in on each side.
People have like autograph books, and yours could be like your art autograph book kind of deal.
And
like,
it would be really fun.
Pages.
It'd be really fun to have that to once you finish it as like a giant like journey piece. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
like here's all, like I remember this year when I did this, and I'm like, you were already talking about the different years that you got the 6 that you have right now, or however many it is, but like you could be like, all the different years of every single time that you got one of these done, and have like a whole story about it. I think that's the way to go.
So I think that's what I'll do. I think that's what I'll do with that then, because I also love that idea. And honestly, like I thought for sure I was going to get it just slabbed so I could put it on the wall, until I got the stuff on the back, and I was like, I almost just want to leave it facing the back always, because holy shit, like they did such an incredible job, and they were all so sweet and so nice and just fun to talk to. And I gave them the sob story of like, I'm not here on Sunday, and they could have easily just said, well, sorry, I don't have time, but none of them did.
All of them were like, even David's like looking at his hand and be like, how much time we got? What time's it close? What time is it now? It's like, do we have time for one more? And he's like, okay, yeah. And it's just people fit in. They're super nice. Those incredible.
It was great. It was great. And then Friday, I also got lucky. I was because I was a solo person. I was able to walk into a panel, and I got to see Kevin Smith and Jay Muse do like Kevin and Silent Bob and Jay are getting old, right? Which was really, really cool. So it was an overall good weekend, and I got to see Preston, and we had fun. And he brought me some Thin Mint pretzels from Christian, which were incredible. So, all in all. And if Preston doesn't bring it up, we'll also tell a couple of fun stories about like the book signing.
That you would like. The book signing was fun. I'll go into that one. But there was one conversation we had with this artist for Constantine. Do you want to talk about that story? Do you want to bring that story up?
I wasn't gonna go. So, okay,
it's a good story. I was very happy with this conversation.
Yeah, he was.
I'm sure he was.
Mm-hmm.
This artist was also an incredible man. Like he was in the middle of drawing somebody else's
great
sketch.
Fashion sense too.
Stopped. Yeah, he did. He was dressed
really.
Like,
he was. Nice. Looked good.
He was.
Yeah.
He stopped what he was doing. He chatted with us for like 15 minutes. When Preston told him that I was only here for a day to get a drawing, he's like, I will get you in. I will do this now, whatever, and like put the other one to the side.
Yep.
He was awesome. And we talked for a long time. So what happened, he has done a lot of work on Constantine. A lot of work on Constantine.
Mm-hmm.
So as Preston's talking to him, hey, you're so great. Like, can you do this? I'm also gonna pick up this cover, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, thanks. I go, okay, so a question, right? Well, Preston is like setting up his bank card to quickly PayPal him. It's like, question for you. It's like, as the seminal expert out of everyone here on Constantine, because of all the work you've done, how do you say that name?
What do you say,
and he
Alex?
goes, oh, it's Constantine.
True
and
that?
I literally went,
Wrong answer.
well, that didn't quite go the way I planned it.
You should have seen Alex, like, he was smiling when he was saying it, and as soon as like the guy says it, Alex is like, fuck. He's like, you wanted him to say Constantine. And he's like,
And you want, and like, there's that point where like, I could argue with you in good fun, right? Because you're an artist. But the problem is, he's actually like met and worked with like the creator of the character, and he's like, the last time I was in London, and then I was working with so and so on the book. He's like, this is how he says it. And he's like, and he's the Scouser from Liverpool, and like that's how they say it. So, and I was like, yeah, this conversation didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go.
Checks out.
Let me tell you why that's bullshit.
Vindication.
All right.
Vindication!
is when, and I'll ask Preston this: when you send a gift to somebody, how do you say it? Fuck you, you know the answer. Don't take that long. You know how you say it.
I say GIF, but I don't need to say.
Yeah,
GIF
of course you do, because that's how you say it. You don't say GIF because that would be fucking stupid. And even though the creator comes out and he's like, it's GIF, it's GIF. No, it's not. It's GIF. Everybody says GIF. Everybody knows it's GIF.
The creator
fuck off.
didn't invent the way that name is said in that area. He just used a name the way it's said in that area.
So what he said was this. He said he didn't say Constantine. He's like, that's the right way to say it. He goes, with that being said, I don't judge. He's like, I oftentimes say Constantine. He goes, sometimes I say Constantine because I'm just used to doing it and so on. He goes, but I don't judge when people say Constantine. He goes, because as an American, if I say Constantine, I sound like a proper asshole. So that's what he said.
Yeah.
As an American, yeah. For sure.
Also, Constantine just sounds better to say.
It does. It does, but it was vindication.
It was
vindication for Preston. It was vindication for Preston.
Yeah,
he did feel really fucking good. He was flying high.
I'll take that the day that Preston goes a full 5 years with saying, when he goes and tells people in public, I want it in public, everything, when he starts going around being like, oh yeah, I'll just send you a GIF real quick.
We were walking away. And Preston's like, it would be really funny, like, if on the sketch he wrote like Constantine or something, like spelling it out like in a word bubble.
It's Constantine, not Constantine, and put like T-I-N-E and T-I-E and I thought that would have been funny.
So, but it was funny. It was a good conversation. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your week.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I'll just go rolling with him with the C2E2. It's a great time. It's my first comic con I've ever been to. I've been to a couple Star Wars cons. I went to an anime con with Christian. So I've been to cons. This one is a lot like the anime con, Christian, to where it's like mostly just artist alley. Like there's plenty of people who are out there with their own comics.
Oh, hey, I want to show. You keep talking about your week. I want to show off the art that you got.
Yeah.
Rad as fuck.
Artist Alley took us like 3 hours to get through.
It's a majority of that con because in that artist alley, and I don't know, Christian, can you hear me? Yell something. I don't know. Okay. So I knew you saw his earbuds. I just didn't know if it was working for him that far away. Yeah. Artist Alley was so cool for the Comic Con because the artists for the comic books are in that Artist Alley, right? So like when you go to Anime Con, the anime artists aren't in usually Artist Alley. You have the people who are doing renditions, posters, whatever for anime they like, but you don't see the artists in there. The artists are usually like off in their own section. With like a Comic Con like this, like they're just in that Artist Alley with other just artists, as far as like they don't even do comics, but they're next to someone who doesn't even do comics, or next to someone who does like bookmarks or like pins or stickers, and it was just so cool. I really like Alyssa Wong's writing. Like I love the way she did Deadpool. I thought she did fantastic.
Preston found a wife.
He found a wife. We're not gonna make it weird.
He found a wife.
She's very cute. She's super duper nice. And I was just gushing about her comics the entire time. So we went up there. She was super duper nice. I got to meet her. She was like signing things, and then like I saw the trade that I was going to get next at Comic Headquarters. I just saw she had it on her table. I'm like, oh, I'll pick up the trade from you. She's like, I'll personalize it for you. I'm like, sure, awesome. And the thing is, like, all these signatures free. Like you can bring up like 5-6 comics. I'm sure they have a limit. Like if you get like 10 comics, like okay, well maybe I might charge you. But most people don't charge at all.
A lot of the big artists, like the one like the Inhyuk Lee and some of the others,
he didn't have. Like,
they'll give you
limits.
They'll usually give you like 1 or 2 for free if they're big ones, and then beyond that they'll charge because they usually think like you're going to sell it, or they'll charge if you say I need somebody to witness this because I'm going to get it graded. They'll charge for that.
That's a little
But
different.
like just the Rogue that I picked up off the shelf and said, hey, would you sign this? Didn't charge a thing. Yeah. Doop. Signed it.
Charge it for the comic.
And everybody is like that.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, that was a fantastic kind of experience. Just going through there and like just walking through, and Dan Dorman, who did the covers for the Star Wars Rogue Squadron issues that I had issues 2 and 3. While we're like before we went to Artist Alley, I'm like, let's just take a look. So I wanted to kind of find that Dr. Aphra #1 that Alyssa did. I couldn't find that one, but I did find those 2 other issues for that Rogue Squadron series. I'm like, fucking A. So I had all 4. I'm like, okay, we're gonna get Dan to sign it. Got the sick ass print of a Imperial Royal Guard that was like taking down dudes. That was really cool. And he signed all 4 of those issues for me. And we got to chat, and I'm like, hey, I was really looking for like on the floor like your Dark Forces Jedi Knight graphic novel because it's going for a lot right now. I kind of would like to have it because I really love that game, and like you did all the art for it. So like I really wanted to kind of go through there and sell your art. He's like, He's like, man, it's like it was a great time doing that book. He's like, we were doing it around the time of the game, so like my book that I did the art for, he's like, that was all based on the game, but he's like, there's 2 other ones that are out there that are like prequels or like kind of more information from that like time or that story. And he just had a fun time talking about that with me. And he was a really cool dude to kind of talk with, and just him talking about his Star Wars experience back in the day doing all those comics was great. Got a bunch of sweet art from there. I got a couple stickers and stuff like that, so it was a good time. Like we said, there was a little video game section where they had a bunch of like arcade cabinets there. It was super full, and to be honest, I don't need to be touching arcade cabinets in a big convention like that. I'm good on that. I didn't bring Emergency with me.
They were doing a Tekken 8 tournament too.
Yeah, there was a whole bunch of tournaments.
We
There was
walked past
Tekken
that,
8. There was I don't think there was Street Fighter, but they were doing
Tekken's hot right now, man.
a bunch of Nintendo games. They did a Mario Kart tournament, Smash Bros. Tournament. There was a handful of tournaments they were doing at certain times. I wanted to get there early enough to see some panels. They had the Rebels panel, like Rebels in 10 years, the past 10 years. They had a panel for DC that had a couple artists that I really like. I was hoping to maybe see them afterwards. But I get there, and I pretty much arrive like right as they open the doors. I'm like, okay, I plan on getting there around 10 o'clock when they open the doors. I'll be able to find parking, walk in, and we'll be good to go. It took me about half the time it took me to drive to Chicago to get and find parking. About damn near saying like half time of the drive.
Did you use Spot Hero, or were you just driving around?
No, so they had like spots for the Comic-Con. So what I did was I just put in the first one. I'm like, okay, let's just go there. GPS will take me. And then all of a sudden you get the signs and stuff there saying this way to parking. I'm like, okay, everyone's there. I'm like, just going to sit in line, have some music, kind of chill out, and just kind of wait to go through here. We get to the first one, all full up. I'm like, okay, then if you go to the second one, that one's all full up. And it's kind of just do the whole snake thing throughout Chicago to find that one. And like, I'm driving far. I'm like, where the fuck am I going for this parking? Because at this point, I'm about to turn it back around and find some more expensive parking that's not a part of Comic-Con. But you kind of snake back in, and on the other side of this like highway, and you finally get a little bit closer. I ended up walking to Comic-Con from that parking lot. It wasn't that bad. Alex walked back with me because I was going to take him. I needed him to give the pretzels and take him back to his hotel room. So, but yeah, it took an excessively long amount of time. I think for like next year, if I go back to, I'm sure I will. I might just like show up Friday, maybe not even go to con that Friday, but just like spend the night at a hotel there Friday, and then do the damn thing from the hotel room into Comic-Con and then leave from that hotel room kind of deal. Because that seems like the better way to go about it than trying to find that fucking parking is a nightmare.
I'm telling you.
You should definitely, Christian, you should come next year. And then Jake, if you're listening, Casey should come too. But if Casey doesn't, I will have a room with 2 beds this time. I will plan better and make sure, like I had to pull out couch bed, but like I will just make sure I have 2 beds. And that way if anybody needs one and somebody backs out, I'm good. I can host.
Yeah, so that's why I always use Spot Hero for that kind of stuff, because they rent out.
Yeah.
They rent out like through hotels and different places like that, and it's so easy just to be like, boom, let me knock out this spot really quick, and I don't have to deal with any of the fuckery that deals with event parking. But so shout out to the Artist Alley there though. So, and I want to show the one you got me. So I'm sure I would have. I already have too many prints.
Well, they had that sweet,
Preston made friends with Alyssa Wong. When he was leaving, he was walking by. I was like, "Hey, have a great night." She remembered who he was. She's like, "Oh, you too, so good."
No,
like,
she just said bye to the person saying bye to her. She was like, "Preston."
She
didn't do that.
She may have a family, but I'm telling you, those paths crossed at a different time.
So
you
guys know I have a fuck ton of prints.
Yeah. We like to do that.
But before I had some of the ones that I was gifted, I had like a tier list of the ones that I liked the most. And at first, it was my Samurai Champloo one, which Preston, we got that Anime Con. Mm-hmm. And then Godzilla one that I got the same one.
Super sick, yeah.
It was sick. And then I got a gift from Alex, which is this insanely sick watercolored VV one that I really, really love. And that one, jumped up on the tier list. And I also have this one, which is also cemented its place on the high point of this tier list.
Yeah.
Which is this fucking radical Jet Set Radio
collage.
print.
Yeah, it's sick.
That is just like everything.
That thing is great.
Sticker. But yeah, it's all of these fucking characters from Jet Set Radio. And I was, whoever, I don't know who the artist was, or else I would say who you were. But you fucking ripped it on that piece. It looks incredible.
Yeah, very good job. Like I was going through there, it was a buy 2 get 1 free, and I'm like, I like this one, I like that one. I'm like, well, I don't need 2 prints. And then I saw a Jet Set one. I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy one for myself and buy one for Christian. So I'm definitely gonna get the 2 that I wanted now. So it was good.
Dude, when we were walking around, to Preston's point, like, you'll have, comic artists that you want to see. They're doing sketches or, talking to Preston, writers and whatnot. And then you'll just have, like, artists that are just trying to make their way in their game, right? Like, a lot of them sell their own prints. They'll probably even bring a portfolio, because at C2E2 they do, like, panels and shit where you can, like, show your portfolio to companies. Either way. We were just walking by, and there was, like, some girl that has this really pretty, like, kind of ethereal sort of art and a couple of pins around Final Fantasy, and she's just, like, I mentioned Final Fantasy or something. She's like, oh, I play Final Fantasy, and, like, 14. She's like, yeah, and we started talking about Final Fantasy, and like, oh, I was like, I love this art, but I've been looking for it wasn't like I would love this different, but like I love this art, and she goes, but I've been thinking about doing around like these other characters. Like, I would, if you had that, I would buy that instantly, right? Like right now. And she's like talking about doing some of the art for the different trials and stuff that she does. She's like, that's what I do when I'm not. I just play 14 when I'm not doing art.
Preach, sister. I get it.
Yeah.
So, it was great.
Yeah, great time.
So let's quickly talk about the book signing, Preston. The book signing was interesting.
Yeah, I can't for the life of me remember. I think it was Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson.
Is that the fantasy author's name?
I think so. Christian, okay. So, like, there are booths at this comic. C2E2 is huge. It's mostly comics.
Just make sure.
It's mostly entertainment, right? And books, while are entertainment, are by far the smallest section of this entire
comic stuff,
right?
anime stuff. They want colorful stuff.
It's hard to pitch people on your book at a con. So I get it. Dude, there are booths, and then there are Brandon Sanderson's booth.
So
that was a literal house built with etched glass, selling nothing but leather-bound goods inside.
Let me tell you. So,
bruh.
I don't know him as well as a lot of other, and I'm assuming we'll get into that. But so his biggest thing is
his name?
Yeah, Brandon Sanderson. I was right.
Make sure.
Yeah. But it's so he's written the Mistborn series and the Stormlight archive, like his big, like, everybody fucking knows these things. But the reason that he one of the ways that I heard about him that also he's written other stuff than that, but those are like his most the bigger ones that I know of. But one of the things that I remember seeing from him is that this motherfucker writes more than I think any other human on Earth. Like,
a billion books.
His books are like thousands of pages long, and he cranks these motherfuckers out like he might as well just be typing gibberish on a keyboard. Like, that's how fast he's able to get these things out the door.
Well, according to some of the trivia that we'll talk about in a moment, it might as well just be gibberish.
I mean, look, I was told by a lot of people that I would really, really, really like Mistborn.
Yeah.
I am not a big sit down and read a book person, but I am a really big audiobook person. Else, the only book that I have sat down and actually read front to back is The Lord of the Rings, obviously, for obvious reasons. But other than that, it's really hard for me to sit down and be like, I'm going to sit and dedicate and do nothing else except read 15,000 pages. It's not happening. But an audiobook I can get down with. So I started listening to the first book in the Mistborn series for audio or on audiobook. So far, it's been really radical, and the premise is cool as fuck, but people are rabid for this stuff. Like, it is wild how deep his world building and lore goes. His
signings were all sold out.
I should
That's
read
not
it.
Surprising.
I should read it because, like, high fantasy. The two things that are up my alley are sci-fi and high fantasy, and like beyond the typical high fantasy that most people know. Like, I've read so many of like the quote unquote like YA high fantasy stories, as well as like N.K. Jemisin and like the King's Arc Tidings series and all this other stuff. So I think I would probably like it. You definitely know, like, I'm not kidding. There were physically bigger booths. There were booths that might be taller, but they would almost be like metal and steel rafter type building, right? Or something like that. His booth, while also big, was out of Harry Potter. It was the
It's
most
like a castle,
ornate
man.
thing I've ever
Yeah.
seen. It was it was painted blue. Literally, I'm not kidding when I say etched glass, like a bookshop, and inside they brought in their
travels
own
with them.
tables and their own wares, and like it was all leather-bound books, leather-bound decanters, leather-bound like cups, leather-bound everything. And they were only letting like 4 people in at a time. Had like hanging lights all over the place. It was nuts.
I wouldn't be able to do it. I would be like this. I can't.
So 2 things happened during this book signing.
Yeah.
The first. Where do we
Can't
start?
even do it.
Which one do we start with? Should we start with the trivia or the note?
So
Trivia.
the
start-
trivia. Trivia happened
We'll
before.
start with the
note thing.
trivia. So I guess the first night, to what Espresso said, all the signings were sold out, right? And like the first night, he was like 45 minutes late or something. And like, I want to be like, what are you really doing? But I'll tell you what I think he was doing. And Preston, you may have watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. Christian, you probably remember. Remember when Terry loved that fantasy author and was telling Jake, and he's like, this guy pulls, and he's like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And they go to his apartment, and he's having like a foursome in the back of the
Yes.
apartment. That is the only thing I believe
Yeah,
this
you know
man
what?
was doing to
Okay.
make him an hour late.
When in reality,
Pulling some,
it's just him
con-
screaming
con-
in Chicago traffic.
Yeah, right.
No, he was driven around. He was probably there. I guarantee you, he just found
Just
like
because
his
you're
pick of the
driven around
cosplay
doesn't
litter.
mean that you avoid traffic. Like if you're in a car, just because somebody else is driving it doesn't mean that you
No.
float above other
No.
traffic.
He was-
Sorry,
he
I
was
have
there.
a driver. I don't get to float on the
he
floor.
was
anymore.
there. He was there already. It wasn't there. I'm telling you. I know what he was doing. And it wasn't
was pulling.
driving.
Pulling
Just
hard.
pulling. So, yeah. Flew like an hour late, right? So, with ours, they were like, hey, he's going to be. It was very weird.
At first,
It was
like 5 minutes,
first he was gonna
10
be-
minutes. Yeah, it just kept on
And then it
going.
got to like 7 minutes and so on. It was very awkward. But they said he was going to be 10 minutes late. And I think that was a let's appease the crowd, but we don't know how long he's going to be. So let's have fun. Preston, how many people do you think were in this line? 300-400?
I don't know what to say, hundreds. I would say they probably had about 70 people because it was a
No,
small
they had
area.
more than that because it was a small area, but it folded over on itself 4 times.
Yeah.
And there was there was between 50 and 75 people down that line because it was long. It wasn't deep, but it was super long.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Probably 250 people, if I had to guess.
Preston's downplaying this. He's like, I don't know. It's like 5 or 10.
I don't know how to
Who gives a
count. Leave
shit?
me alone.
It was a lot of people. Like, it wasn't thousands by any means, but it was a lot of people.
A lot.
So they're like, let's appease these people. Let's do trivia. And the way they did trivia is they had a little like Wheel of Fortune wheel. Like they would spin it and it would land on somebody to ask questions. But you can't do it. Like they didn't have a megaphone. So they would like go to the first section of like 25 people.
Yeah,
and they would just
that
yell
range,
like all the way
yeah.
back. So you get to our section. And it's this poor kid who's probably like 21. Like he's not old, right? Younger than us.
Definitely in his 20s. Yeah.
Definitely in his 20s. He just passing judgment, you know, with his shirt tucked in and the clothes he was wearing and the way he was acting, there was an air of superiority about him, as in like
He works the line for him. He is the guy.
He
was the
works the
goal.
line for Brandon Sanderson. He is Brandon Sanderson's guy. Like I don't know that they know each other, but like
No, he's one of the people
Hey,
working.
look, man, that dude, he's just trying to show up to his job. All right, you guys are being haters right now already.
I wasn't
I'm
hating at
not.
the time. You weren't hating at the time.
I wasn't hating. I am passing judgment though. I'm just saying, like, you could tell, like, there's a reason he's doing the trivia because
Man, some
nobody's going to give an
people-
answer that he doesn't know. Like, that's why he was doing the trivia.
Some people just like to look nice, and it sounds like you guys are fucking hating, all right? Let this man tuck his shirt in, get
That
his
was
little belt
happening.
buckle going, whatever was happening.
So yeah, he's doing the trivia because nobody's going to catch him off, right? Like, he's going to know all the answers, and yeah. And the reason why I say like it sounded like it was gibberish, and it's a complete joke. I'm sure I'd love the series, and I think I'll actually start reading it. But he was like, the first question was like, who can name the
Seven of the 12
living
stones on which
crystal
planets?
types? Yeah, the 7 of the 12 crystal types or something. And the guy gets up there and he was like, emerald, onyx. And Jake, don't kill me. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm
they're
making
not
this up
actual
for
stone
story
names, yeah.
effect. Don't murder me. And he's like, emerald, onyx, sapphire, blah, blah, blah. Just like made up, like, to my ear. Sound like you made up
That,
three
that
others.
blah, blah, blah is what sent Jake off the
They were
edge
real
just
things.
now.
They were real things. And the guy running the line is like, oh, wow, he got all 7. Didn't even have to go for the low-hanging fruit of blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, all right, guy. So they bring out the second one. And there's a guy behind us that wants to participate.
Yeah.
But he can't hear. So, like, a couple times throughout, he's like, I can't hear you. Second guy comes up to do trivia, asks them, there's like 3 or 4 living crystals on the planets. What are the planets that they're on or something? Again, sounded like gibberish to my ears. So the guy doesn't know. So he turns and goes, would the audience like to help? But nobody can really hear. So the guy behind us is like, we can't hear you. And he's like, what was your answer?
Yeah.
He's like, we can't hear you. And he was like, I still can't hear your answer. So Preston
Sassy Preston
decides,
at the end of the Comic-Con day.
gets sassy and also yells back out, we can't hear you. To which point the guy, I guess, has had it by this point and looks and goes, awesome answer. I can't hear you either. And then just moves along.
Yeah.
And Preston loses his mind to the point where he's like threatening very quietly under this breath. This
The kid's in front of me.
20-year-old
I can hear it.
gave him like a cash me outside sort of thing. Was like, ooh, if I see this kid when I'm walking out of here,
on the way out of here. That's what I said.
this poor little 20-year-old running trivia has no idea that his life is like about to flash before his eyes. He keeps walking down the trivia. Preston's like, oh, if he comes back, and so
I'm ready
here's
for
what
this
happens
time.
at one point. Here's what happens at one point. I forgot how this goes just now.
He's like staring me
Kid
down and
leaves.
shit.
He leaves to go get the to go get the time. He comes back. He's like, he'll be here in 6 minutes. 6 minutes. He's walking by. He's looking in our general direction, but Preston is sure he's staring him down.
Because I'm staring him down too.
He's like, do you see him stare me down, puffing out that chest? I was like, I think he's just looking in the general direction. He's like,
Jesus.
That guy was getting me. He's getting my goat. It's been a long day, and I'm sure it's a long day for him too. But like, you don't need to get at me. I'm just trying to tell you.
The best part is that President's still taking. He's like, that kid was staring at me. I'll kill him. I'll kill him today.
I'll fucking slit his throat right now. This is Chicago. I'll fucking stab him. That shit rolls here.
It was so funny.
Bitch, you know what city you're in? Don't fuck around here.
The second
Preston's like, I lived here. This is my city. I'll kill you.
You say Sunshine, San Diego, buddy. This is Chicago. We're gonna fuck you up. Don't mess around with us.
I'm sure that kid lives there too. There's no way they brought in their own line workers, right? Like I'm sure he's from the local high school. The other thing that happened was we were there on behalf of Jake to get Jake's signature, and Jake wrote a very sweet little like note on the post-it note. You know,
You're an
to the
inspiration.
author.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been a great inspiration to me. Blah blah blah. It's a great note. One would think if an artist is going, author is going down signing this, you would open up the book and say, hey, thank you so much for signing this. My friend sent us here. He is a huge fan of yours. This is no.
Preston,
However,
you did not do this.
It's a lightning signing.
He was not able to make it. He was not able to make it. So this is for you, and I can't wait to give this back to him. Did Preston say that?
No.
It was a lightning signing. All he does is he goes to sign it. He writes his signature down. He looks up at me, goes, "Thank you, Jake," and moves on. And I'm like, "You're welcome."
No, that's weird. No. Because here's what happened. Here's what happened. Let me tell you.
They say he doesn't answer questions. He doesn't want. He can't. They don't have conversations. Like, this is a lightning signing. He needs to move on to the 500 other people in his line.
That's fine. You can just be like, "Yo, it's just for my friend," and then you just be like that, and it's literally a sentence. This is for my friend. He can infer whatever else. What he saw when he looked that down, when he's reading that, is he looked at it and went, this dude had all this to say to me, and he is just standing here silently in front of me.
He's too introverted to say anything.
Maybe I'm starstruck.
My presence.
You don't know. Yeah.
Thanks, Jake. Please don't put my eyeballs in a jar later tonight and then fucking hand him the book. he double checked his hotel door that night. He was like, let me make sure this is locked, because if it's not, that dude's gonna bust back in here and fucking kill me.
This kid, he loves me so much, he's scared to talk to me, so he wrote it down in a note, which I love.
If he heard any sort of like weird air noise that night, he was like, that dude's next to me breathing in my ear for sure.
And the funniest, my favorite part about it is that moving forward, this guy won't remember Preston from Adam because there were also 500 people in this line or whatever. But if he did, he will never truly know Jake. He will only know Preston as Jake.
Oh my god! If it's next year and like I'm in line with Jake, just like waiting with him, and all of a sudden he looked at me, he's like, "Jake, I remember you." Jake is just gonna destroy. This is so sad.
Yeah, you were the one with the weird fucking note where you didn't say anything. That was odd. What's up, man?
Yeah, Jake just breaks into tears. It's like the beginning of his villain arc from then on.
Yeah.
So, it was a good weekend.
It was a great weekend. It was. I'll do it again for sure. But yeah, CT Week 2 is great. I started playing Zao Tales of Kanzaru. That has come out. It is a good game.
That's the guy with the guy that was on Raised by Wolves, yeah?
Papa. Yeah. He started up his own game studio. I made this one about losing a father and kind of going through the stories that essentially Zao's father like wrote a book, or like I forget the actual kid's name. That Zao is the character I think you play as. But like the father, like before he passed, he's like, I wrote this down for like stories for you. It's like, I'm not going to be there for you, but here's these stories I can give you to kind of help you on when I'm not there. And I thought that was like super sweet. The art is fantastic. The gameplay is a lot of fun. Right now for me, this is what I hear is like the only downfall of this game is that it's kind of simple. It's kind of straightforward. Which for me, A, it's the first game they made, and B, it's a short game. It's just, I can understand that fine. I'm only halfway through the game, so I'll tell you a little bit more later on once I get towards like the end of this game to see if there's like more challenging stuff that happens to it. But yeah, it is a little bit more simple game, but combat's great. You're always switching between two powers, the sun and the moon mask. The moon mask is kind of your ranged kind of deal. The sun's more of like your melee attacks. And it looks phenomenal. It looks really great. I played it a little bit on my PC at first because I wanted to get some B-roll for this conversation. And then I was starting to play on my Steam Deck. It's a great Steam Deck game. I guarantee that both of you will love it because you guys have that OLED, and those purples and yellows are going to pop like a motherfucker. This has great color in this game. So I think it would be great. I'm sitting there playing on my Steam Deck. I'm like, I wish I had an OLED Steam Deck. It would look really good on my OLED. But it's still a great looking game. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's a shorter game. It's a little bit more simple game, but I'm having a great time. Also played some more Force Unleashed on the Star Wars Sundays. I am going to start it back over on my end. The sound and audio got really bad like towards the end of that last play session, to where the only sounds that I'm hearing are when like lightsabers clash or when like a bullet hits like something or like laser hits something. Other than that, like sound is void. And it's an issue like, oh, you can do this and patch the files and stuff like that. I'm like, no, I'm all right. And I had The Force Unleashed on my wish list on Xbox because I'm like, okay, well, when it does go on sale, I'll grab it real quick. And because it's the May the 4th weekend, it was on sale for like $5. I'm like, okay, we're gonna buy it now. I got like a week or so to kind of get caught up, play like 4 or 5 hours. And the little bit I did play the other day, which is just like that opening Vader scene, which is a great fucking opening for a video game. I think it even feels better to play. So,
I bet it does.
So I think that PC is just an insanely horrible port. So we're going to be continuing on the Xbox once we get it.
What is it about Star Wars games and PC? Like
KOTOR's good.
I think. Is it?
I played KOTOR first on PC. Now maybe you know me, I played through all of Skyrim without having a huge bug. So like maybe I just dodged bugs like a motherfucker. But like, I heard that
I only played KOTOR on PC.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was alright.
I played the original Xbox version. What I mean though is not the KOTOR PC like the original one. I'm talking about like when they ported it to Steam. Like any Star Wars game that I know that has made like the port to like modern PC architecture, just is always fucked up, man.
I'll do some research beforehand. If not, I got a copy for Xbox and I got a copy for PC. So.
I don't know that it's just Star Wars though, right? Like it seems like it's just a lot of those old.
There's a lot of it, but I just think Star Wars as a series specifically. Like like I could think of something like Devil May Cry, for instance, right? Like 3, 4, and 5 run fucking perfect on PC, but then like the 1 and 2 versions of that collection can get a little wonky sometimes. But you're like, oh well, you know, but 3, 4, 5 are great, you know, so whatever, blah blah blah. You move on. But like, I can't think of a single Star Wars game in recent memory that I'm like,
The Jedi games did not run well recently. I can almost guarantee Outlaws is not going to run well on PC. And to be fair, I don't think that game's going to run well on consoles either. But you know, we'll see what happens.
You've confirmed for yourself that Force Unleashed is clearly not working on PC.
Yes, no, yeah, that's definitely not working on PC.
It's got to be that they're one of those properties that you can just shit in a bag and give it to the players, and they're going to.
Press is like, yeah, you can shit in a bag for dollars. I'll buy it. I'll buy it.
I think that's what it is. So like, they're like, why do we put resource into this? Go get Steve and his buddy from down the street and let them like build this port in their garage. Like,
The
all right.
kids will
Mac
patch it
version of
for us.
14.
Yeah.
The Mac version of 14 running on a Raspberry Pi. That's exactly what it is. I know that life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
You want to play? You want to play this game? Great. You have two options. You can not update your operating system for the next 8 months, or you can update and just never be able to play the game again. It's up to you, really.
Yeah. Both are great options for us because we have your money.
Right. The worst.
Other than that, didn't really have much time to play any more games because System Shock took a lot of that time up for me on my days off. So I did watch Dead Boy Detectives as a spinoff. Is a spinoff of the Sandman Netflix series. It is very good. I'm like a handful of handful of episodes in.
Is it really?
Yep. I think.
I didn't even.
So yeah, the Dead Boy
It's on
Detectives you
Netflix?
saw. Yeah, Dead Boy Detectives that you saw in the Sandman series on Netflix.
Yeah.
Those actors are doing their own spin-off show.
Dude,
on
Netflix doesn't advertise shit, and
They
it
don't.
pisses me
It's really bad.
off.
They got too much shit coming out, so they only can advertise for like 1 or 2 things. But guess what?
Bad
If you
company.
launch Netflix on the day of, it was right there at the top. But the next day, it's getting taken over by something else. I had a hard
I
time
hate
finding it because I
Netflix.
forgot to add it to my list. The next day, I'm like, I'll just continue watching. I'm like, why is it not showing up on my continue watching? Now I gotta find
Their content's great. I hate them as a company. Like I didn't
they're-
even know that show existed. I'll totally watch it now.
It's a great one.
I had no idea.
Yeah, they had Cat King show up and made me question my sexuality. But yeah, it's been a really good time. He's very seductive and sexy and charming. He's the Cat King.
and he's an animal, so it helps.
Well, he transformed into a cat.
We saw furry at C2E2.
We saw Furry. We saw Onion Man
Just one.
from the Souls games. He was there. And we saw like Bomber
I was
Yeah.
like the Onion
He had,
Man.
he had,
and
he had
I
a
know
really
what you're
good
talking about.
Onion Man outfit,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the fuck that is. Yeah, he was walking around.
I mean, there was a
lot.
lot of good cosplay, but there was a single furry.
He has a different
He was.
name in every game, but it's just the Onion Knight. But yes,
That's right. Yeah.
the Onion Man.
But yeah, Dead Boy Detectives is good. Getting on that, and then Bad Batch series finale happened this past week. An incredibly good final episode. They tie up the everything they needed to as far as the arcs that were happening in that series, and then the last like 5-10 minutes is a flash forward for a main character that kind of shows you, hey, Bad Batch is over, but we may do more stories with this character. But it kind of shows like an older version.
And of course, you'll see the rest of the Living Bad Batch. And I haven't seen the finale, so I don't know who lives, who dies. You're going to see the Living Bad Batch, I'm sure, in Ahsoka. So when
Filoni's
Filoni comes
thing, yeah.
out, when Filoni comes out and says, "Oh, don't worry, Ahsoka season 2 is like Bad Batch season 6.5," like
Yeah,
there
right.
you go.
But you know, it's a big jump in that. So it's you don't have to watch it to see it. It's a fantastic series ending. I'm very happy it ended the way it did because I thought it was a fantastic cherry on top seeing that last little flash forward. So, yeah. Other than that, System Shock is the only other thing I did this week. So let's get into it.
Fucking get into it.
That's right. The last thing I'll say is, as Preston said, there was so much good cosplay at C2E2. I could not tell you my favorite. I will tell you my favorite genre of cosplay is cosplay that doesn't match the con.
Yes.
So like my favorite, like I'm walking through the place and I see a girl dressed up as like the Ratatouille chef, like the hair
That's
and
a good
everything,
one,
and like
yeah.
on her head she has like a fake mouse and like no, but like I love it because like there is not a single Ratatouille thing in this whole
I'm sure there's a
200,000 square
Ratatouille
foot
comic
venue.
somewhere in there, but it's not. Yeah.
Oh no, I doubt it. I doubt it. I would always guarantee there's not. As a matter of fact, you might get independent art, but like Disney's property, like they have some deals with like Marvel, obviously, but like there's no Marvel Ratatouille comic on that show floor. I'd almost guarantee it. But like
That's the same.
she's still dressed. So those are my favorite cosplays.
Yeah, they're really
the
good.
incredible people that go so far out that are probably just wearing like an old Halloween costume that have nothing to do with anything.
Just a go-to cosplay.
Cosplay.
You just bring it to conventions.
Yeah. It was. I mean, and there were people so on point. So I love seeing the cosplays, but those are my favorite. Anyway, System Shock Part 3.
No.
This, excuse me.
Fucking
This-
more like part 3 and part 4. Am I right?
Am I right? Am I right? Yeah. Yeah. No, you are. This was by far the longest portion.
I think you might take the cake. This might be the longest portion of our book club ever.
Period. Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, we can talk about that when we're done. That's on me.
It's okay. I mean, it's a game no one has played, so we didn't know.
We haven't. I'm enjoying it. We'll talk about that after part 4 and so on. With that being said,
I think 2 of us are enjoying it for sure.
it does
Sounds
push.
alright.
I do feel like it kind of pushes around the limits of, I wanted to keep it to 4 parts and so on. It's long. That's on me. Anyway. I look, the only thing I've learned, and maybe next time I'll have to do more research, or maybe I'll watch an entire let's play of a game. The reason this is so long is because we know, as an immersive sim, there is no level, there are levels to the station. There's no dedicated level with objective.
Going back and forth sometimes, yeah.
And it happens. So this one ended up being a long one. I don't know the next one. The next one might be really short. I have no idea. We'll find out.
We will.
So this time we did the executive level. We went back and finished off the maintenance level, which, to its credit, was very short.
Yeah, when that
At least for me.
Yeah.
Right. And then we also did engineering. And there might be a little discrepancy on where we ended here. Christian ended a little bit before me.
I think I might
I'm
have
sorry,
as
a little
well.
bit after me. He did a little bit more than I did.
Well,
That's okay.
We'll get there.
We can talk about it. That's okay. So we'll kick things off in executive. We have one main objective right now, which is kind of explore the area. Since we made it from flight deck, and we have a couple audio logs here, right? So there's an audio log from Kinner Perry you run into pretty early on. What did you say?
He said, "Come on, audio logs here." I'm like, "You mean everywhere?"
everywhere.
That's what this game is.
How many do you think were on this floor? If you had to guess, how many audio logs? do you think
15.
150.
I'm being
there's
serious. I
only
think 10 to
8.
15.
Now, I think there's only 8. There's also a couple of emails and then 2 story-based ones, so there's not that many.
It felt like 15.
It felt like 15.
So, the first audio log you run into, this is a common theme. I have been golden when it comes to this game, when it comes to codes. I write everything down.
I should have.
The very first audio log you come across is very near an important part where Kidder Perry is like, hey, AI is going on the fritz, and it's showing door codes randomly on these screens. And it literally says by the Triumph logo in the elevator, right? And it's just very weird. We need to get it fixed and figure out what it goes to, but we need to get it fixed so it stops showing that. So you run into a room, there's 4 pillars, they're all showing different codes from left to right or right to left, whichever. They do come into play later. Preston, did you write those down?
Nope.
Or did you
But I
find
know what we're getting to, so yeah. I got some backtracking to do later on this next section.
Well, no, you're thinking of something different. That
Okay.
Yeah, no, not those codes.
That code is and the game does mean for you to backtrack for that. Unless you're using it, you don't. There's no way to know about
Yeah.
that ahead of time.
So the code we're talking about now, I took a picture with my phone because I did see it was those 3 screens. I'm like, this is definitely
Yeah.
something I need to keep. Click, take that
Well,
photo.
so
I'm like, I'll leave my
technically
phone.
here's all I'm gonna say. My code was the out of the 3 pillars. My code was the 3rd, so the one facing me to the right. Yours is probably one of those 3 as well. They're random, but yours is probably that one as well.
every code, every number is randomly generated throughout this game.
You can't
every
follow a
single
guide
time you
to
start
get that
a
code.
playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all I'm gonna say is you said it's the 3 screens. Technically, there's a 4th screen that shows a code, so you're lucky that I got 4 codes. The fact that you had a picture of 3, you're lucky was one of those 3 because there are 4.
Mine was
there
the
for
first
sure.
one that I guessed. Of all the ones that I took, I was like, okay, I'll just guess this one. It took it, and I was like,
Thank God.
Mine was the 3rd. I wrote them down left to right, and I was like, all right, well, clearly I'm gonna put them in right to left, and I should have gone the other way, would have been fast. So we keep exploring we keep exploring executive, and this is by far like the nicest area we've been to, right? You can tell it's executive.
Yeah.
All the
Hashtag
junk.
eat the rich.
Yeah, all the junk, though it's worth the same amount, is like gold ashtray, like leather-bound book, right? Gold blah, blah, blah. Everything's mahogany and wood, marble
Can I
floors.
just say, during this part when we were walking through and I see all these fucking items to pick up, I literally was sitting there and I was thinking to myself, Alex is picking up every single one of these things and vaporizing them. I want to be like, someone should study his brain.
Yeah, there are people out there who will
This
collect
is-
everything. It's sad.
I've
This
gotten
is
fast at it.
I'm sure you have. It's too much.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm just walking around, no money, in a Rambo First Blood arsenal with nothing but ammo and Berserk patches to fill my thing. Being like, no item, only shoot. That's all I know.
The funny thing about it is like I am a king among no one, right? I'm a king among the dead. I am like rolling in my money. It's probably weighing me down as I run around, like falling out of my pant
sure,
legs.
so damn
But like,
bucks.
it doesn't matter. Nobody. But like realistically, it was a real realistic sim when I came, or immersive sim when I came up to the mod station. I wouldn't put money in. I would just beat the shit out of it with my crowbar until like it popped out.
I know, and the mods sit there. They're right there.
That happens?
No,
Yeah, you can just
no,
grab-
no. No, you
No,
can't.
it doesn't.
Thank
No.
you. Don't scare. Look at
Okay.
his
I'm
face.
saying, like,
Al.
I
That's
walked
not
past all these
nice.
without beating the shit out of them to get it.
No, I'm
That's
just
not
saying,
nice
like,
at all.
I'm just saying, like, I would. That's what I would do in real life, but
Oh, as a
instead,
sim,
like,
yes.
I'm vaporizing everything and running around with like money coming out of every
The
orifice.
best part is that those mods just are sitting right there.
you can just grab
Like,
it.
Give it that to me. It's mine now.
Yeah.
Thank you. Why am I even waiting here? Like, this is
The other question is like, what kind of industrial build quality flaw did this company produce when every single right hand mod station is out of order,
well.
but everyone in the left hand station
I think that
is
you
there
should
and ready to use?
You could really quickly answer that, which is clearly we're very far in the future where we are in hyper capitalism now.
Buy gun
And
mods out of vending machines in executive
If
lounge.
regular capitalism is any indication on how many building codes end up getting skirted, I'm
Yeah.
assuming that hyper capitalism probably just ups that ante, so it's
Yeah.
probably a lot.
I don't know. I don't see any issue with the way things are built today. I mean, in fact, all the great things that Tesla is doing with the pedal right now, right?
Yeah.
Using soap and having it stick and
I
having
personally
think
was
it's
thinking to
wonderful.
myself,
go Tesla.
I personally think that those pedals get in the way of me driving. I like the fact that they shoot out the bottom and the car just never stops.
Yeah. What's better than
And then-
going 0
and
to
then it
62
turns-
seconds, 0 to 140 always?
And then now, one, I'm getting to my destination faster, and
Yeah.
two, I have a heat-seeking missile for my enemies behind me.
Do you think autopilot is more accurate or less accurate at 120?
I think. I think that the error rate is the same, but the results are much more disastrous.
You think? I don't know. I've seen people get decapitated at 35, so...
Right, so I think
Who
that they
knows?
probably just turn into a mist at 140. Especially in a truck that is not rated for safety whatsoever and just becomes a giant fucking hunk of metal that has no crush points or any modern science whatsoever. And it's just a fucking brick that's flying through the street at 140 miles an hour.
It's a mirrored brick, too, so, like, you know, the sun just hits it and it reflects and blinds everybody.
Everybody
and, like,
as it's driving by. It's like, is that the sun? Did the sun just come down? Is the rapture starting? Did Jesus just start the rapture?
So anyway,
This book
Elon is
close got
trash and the
away
world
from
is
us very
dust. So,
quickly.
okay.
So Shodan.
So, yeah. Woo. So,
Oh,
this is the nicest area.
Dude,
All right, this
somebody, this we'll get there in a second. Somebody should mod this game to change Edward Diego to Elon Musk.
all the weapons, like you take out some of the guns and replace it like the boring flamethrower and some of the other shit that he has. Oh my god. What you see outside of the space station is just his like S1 Roadster that he shot to Mars, just like orbiting the space station.
Oh no.
I would buy that game again. I would buy the Elon mod. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Showdown. will probably
Preston's
be
like,
the
I'd enjoy
next
this game way more if that's what was happening.
Probably.
Oh.
It'd probably get above a 1.5.
It is the nicest area we explore. With that also comes some tougher enemies, right? Our normal bots. Oh god, I'm crying. Our normal bots are gold bots now, which
No,
take a little bit more
execubots.
damage. They're execubots, right? But we find out pretty quickly. We get a couple more audio logs. One just mentions that, like, hey, Shodan has closed off Beta Grove, which is weird, but like we can't get to Beta Grove, right? It's part of the resistance. The one thing I will say about the audio logs,
You also find out in the audio log that one of the groves has already been jettisoned.
Yeah.
it's not in this one. It's in another one. I have that,
Okay,
but yes,
yeah.
one has already been jettisoned. The one thing, my biggest complaint about the audio logs that I'll talk about for now, before next week, which is just every audio log, you might have like one or two to the same person, but there are bunches of different people that were like there for this resistance going on against Shodan, right? Like the normal people. I get, for an immersive sense, having all of these characters makes sense. But the way you're delivering the story, A, I don't remember one person from the next, and B, like, they don't matter. Like, I don't need all of these characters. It would have been better just to make like three, right? Just like three revolving people.
You have a storyline.
Because, like,
yeah.
who the heck is Gerard Koufax, right? Or like the next one, which is Harry Wilkinson. And Christian, to what you said, so the third one we find here, Harry Wilkinson, this is where we really start to see things are popping off. So we know that Shodan closed Beta Grove, but Harry's like, hey, a bunch of the executives tried to escape by jettisoning Gamma Grove. So they went to Gamma Grove and they just shot themselves out.
Remember this moment, because this ends up leading to the one time that I've been extremely frustrated with this game.
Okay.
But we'll continue.
So Harry says, like, a bunch of executives tried to leave. He goes, I hit the master switch in the Grove, the master switch in executive level, then flipped the lever in the lounge and shot it off. So that's our objective, right? Mm-hmm. We know, well, we don't know that's our objective. We do know that to jettison one of these things, we flip a switch in the Grove, flip a switch outside of the Grove, master switch, and then pull the lever. Then Diego starts coming in as we continue to explore, saying, like, man, I tell you what, like, activating Shodan's full capabilities was the best decision I ever made. So, like, the security forces here won't come after me. Like, they won't touch me. They'll be too busy with, like, the resistance and stuff like that. And he goes, and that stupid hacker is still in a coma for another month. He said, so, you know, I plan on keeping him around if I need him. He said, otherwise, I'll take him out.
Yeah.
Right, so he's like pumped because this is where
He's
he says,
full
like,
on
look,
bought into his cyber mommy. He's
full on into her. He's like, I want this virus that she's working on, whatever. So now we know, like, we know something's going on in these groves, and we very quickly find out that one of the groves has the virus in it. So the virus is turning these people into the mutants and what they're going to then send to Earth to take people out. And it's going on in Beta Grove. And Zach Aaron's like, hey, she's either A, purposely spraying it out into the rest of the station, or it's leaking from Beta Grove. But either way, for our story, Beta Grove's got to go. Like, we got to send it. That's when we know, like, okay, the Beta Grove has to go. But there's some things that make this a little tougher, right? Which is Shodan comes up in a log and says, those idiot executives tried to escape by jettisoning Gamma Grove, which I assume they did. like, we don't actually have confirmation that it was like blown out of the sky or anything. So
We know that it was jettisoned from the station because when you
not-
try to,
yeah.
like, you can't get to it.
and you can't see it. So like, if you go to the
Right.
window, it's not there, right?
Right, so
But
it was jettisoned.
I assume they survived wherever they went, right? Because like, she doesn't talk about destroying it, but what she said was like, well, that was effing inconvenient to my plan. So now I'm changing the protocols. In order to jettison one grove, you have to jettison all groves, which
Yeah.
means there is no beelining to Beta Grove. You got to go to all of them. The nice and annoying thing about this game,
Audio
is-
listeners, you can't see the disdain on Preston's
Oh,
face.
Preston's
but
so
it,
irritated.
It needs to be stated.
so like, for me, I think this is nice. For an overall gameplay thing, this is an indication of age, right? It wouldn't be done this way in today's world. Every map is laid out differently because you're on a station where every level is different. However, the one commonality is cardinals, right? You know you have one objective that is going to take you to north, south, east, and west. And you're going to have to do it. There is no map on here where you go to the east and you get lucky and you're done. No. You're going north, south, east, west. You're going to clear the map. That's it.
Well,
So
there's
it
one
makes
objective
sense.
that you might be able to do that if, but you know what? I'll get there. Go ahead.
Maybe. So, continue along, we're continuing to explore. All of a sudden, Diego comes back up with one of his logs, and this is where we really see this full plan. This showdown. Since your rise to power, I've seen the wisdom in your actions. You do not mean to cause us harm, but rather to bring us to greater glory by by serving a being as perfect as yourself. Please let me demonstrate my loyalty by giving you the location of, essentially he says like something else, but it's the human holdouts, right? The resistance. All I ask in return is you don't kill me, right? And through the subsequent audio logs on the floor, that's what happens. Like, we know that there is a resistance. We've gone to a couple different points in this station. Everyone has been dead every time we get there, including that like cyber bot that tried to kill us. But we know there's more people supposedly headed to the bridge, and there's people in executive. And through this, we find out that he betrayed them all, gave them all up to the robots. And there's a couple of things that confirm that in the audio logs of like, oh, we're surrounded and they're outside and blah, blah, blah. As well as like in certain areas of executive, there's just people holding out and there's just blood everywhere. I think it was executive. It might be engineering. I forget which, but there's a cyber space hacking station that is just covered in blood.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole thing is just
it's
covered
fucked. Yeah.
in blood. So going through the stations or the groves, there's nothing to gain in like there is a missable, but there's nothing story required in the grove minus the button. So if you want, you can run in there, you find the room that requires you to just press the eject, like the safety lever off button, and then you can leave if you want. But did you guys explore these groves at all? Like,
All
one of them
but
is-
I think.
the poisonous
Go ahead.
one.
Sorry.
so Beta has the poison, right? It was all radiation and poison. You had to use the Enviro suit for that. That was a pain in the ass.
Yeah, so there was a little kind of shortcut that the guide I was reading does say, hey, there's this part over here, you're supposed to go all the way around and activate the laser to walk across. She's like, you got the motion level 3 boots, so just go ahead and just jump. And that's right behind that door. I'm like, cool.
You
bet.
should have had motion level 2, right? Level 3 comes in engineering.
Yeah, you do.
But
have
still,
most
you
of
could do it.
yes.
You could do it with level 2. I did it with
Yes.
level 2, so
Okay,
you
that
should have
was
been
level
able to
2
do
then,
it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I did the
I
same.
did the same
Like
thing.
so for the other two groves, and I think we can just like skip past because but I explored the other two groves, and got them down. It was funny. I got them down to 0% security, but then it was like in my head I was assuming that we were going to jettison all 3 of them, and so I'm like, there's kind of no point in getting all the security done here if I'm just going to send it into the fucking void. But whatever.
You would think that by sending it to the void, it would make it 0 automatically.
Right, but it does not. Yeah, but whatever, or it does, who knows? Either way, it
And
doesn't
to
matter.
activate some of those things, you need to take the security down to a percentage.
Yeah, so I went through all of those. I went through all the groves, and then when it came to Beta Grove, I saw that it was all irradiated, and I was like, all right, fuck this. And I just was like, sprint, jump, get in, see ya, leave. Everybody get fucked. I have fun in the void, and just pulled it.
Did anybody play the chess game?
So I started it, and it started off with, because it starts randomly for everybody, but it started off with the 2 corners, and I thought I won that one, but I guess it just got to a stalemate to where it's just we both had the kings. And then I started to play the second one. You know what? I'm not playing against AI. I'm already spending so much time with this fucking game right now. I'm not sitting here fucking fighting AI against chess because I suck at chess.
Is the chess
in the
game
first place.
random for everybody?
The way it gets loaded
starts
out,
randomly,
it
but once you lose, then it lines up regularly.
yeah. So the second time I played, because when it restarted itself, made it into just a normal chess game.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost twice, reloaded, and kept playing the random start. I was able to beat the random start in 2 moves, but it took me a minute to figure it out. So on the random one, there is a simple solution to all of them if you're good at chess. And not to say I'm good at chess. I got lucky, but you have to think a couple steps ahead. But you can, I think, as far as what I read after the fact, is there is a way you can beat all the random ones in fewer than 3 moves, as long as you can see ahead enough to know where they're gonna go, right?
I walked up to it and I was like, oh, this is chess. No. And I jumped down. I was like,
So
I hate chess. I don't care.
I tried it 2 times because I found out what you get, and I really wanted that, but I ended up not doing it.
You get a pocket dimension boost, so
I
you get more inventory space.
you get more inventory space. Yeah. I was like, I've got a shotgun, an assault rifle, 2 pistols, an electric sword, and an electric rifle. I don't really need whatever you're giving me. Move. I don't like chess anyway. That's not to disparage anybody who likes chess. I know it's one of the world's oldest games. People love it. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. I don't care. It's not for me. And so I saw it and I was like, no.
Don't think I will.
I jumped down, start walking. Yeah. It's the Captain America.
Yeah.
I don't think that I will. Yeah. And I was just like, I moved on. Only to have a fucking tiger gorilla jump off the thing. I was like, oh, you fucking video game. Cut that motherfucker in half and then moved on.
So I don't know what's going on in Executive, but there are multiple tiger gorillas in that
There's
thing.
one
Lots
in an
of them.
office that made me jump scare. I'm like, I'm just going to whoop.
2 in an office and for me.
Yeah,
but
2
you
in
guys-
an
I had
office.
2.
Yeah, opened it up, and all of a sudden I get jumped, and I jump scare the fuck out of Teddy, who's taking a nap. So thanks for that. But yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I saw him, I was like, all right, come here, kitty. Let's fucking do this
Shotguns. Yeah,
shit.
shotguns all day. Take them down.
So Alpha, and
I've been playing this game like a samurai, dude. I don't know if I barely ever use a gun unless it's something that's out of reach. Otherwise, come to Papa. You're getting chopped up.
so it's good.
so there's Alpha and what's the other? There's Alpha, Beta, Gamma. What's the other one? Delta.
Delta.
So Alpha and Delta, I explored and I cheated. I just used the boots, jumped up, and then went backwards. And going backwards is much easier than going forwards, right? In both. I did all of Beta, but I did it in 2 sessions. So I sprinted in and took out the security cameras and left. And I used 1 health pack. So my health went down, and then I used 1 health pack and did that. Then I came back because I ran all the way back to a floor below in the med bed, laid in, got full health again, ran back, and then did the button. So I did that one in 2 because I first walked in there and forgot to turn on my my Enviro suit, and it was 167 poison damage, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna die instantly.
Oh, sure.
So you do that and you jettison all of them, which really only jettisons Beta. However, it makes the others inaccessible. There's 1 weapon in there that you can't get anywhere else, but it's just an electric variant of a normal assault rifle you already have. So it's I didn't care. It's not a big deal. I didn't pick it up. I do find it weird that if we're taking down this place, why if we're taking down this station and we cleared out this area, or there's robots, why we wouldn't have jettisoned all 3 of them? But you don't, right?
You sure don't.
You don't. And then to end
You
things
can't
off,
even.
you can't. It doesn't even let you, right? And then to finish things off, you through a lot of exploring. There's 1 final area along the south that you can only access by crawling through one of the service tunnels, and that's where you need the code that you got at the beginning of the game. They love doing that. taking a code, giving it to you early on, hope you write it down, and then not bring, heaven forbid, it's like in the next room. No, like you'll need it an hour and a half later, and hopefully you got it and remember where it was. So when you crawl around, you get to an office. As you crawl around, you get to an exec office, and who's there? It's Diego, and Diego has fully cybernetted himself out and is ready for a fight.
Went down like a bitch.
Yeah.
Berserk mod, whip out the sword and just run at his face like. Meh.
So all three of us had the same.
It's the best way to take on a boss in this game. You just fucking go at it.
As soon as he teleported in and started yapping, I was like, Berserk jammed it in my chest and took off sprinting straight toward him.
The best part is that he starts to teleport away after like the fourth hit or whatever, because he's running away because I'll see you soon. But like, and you keep it. But I'm like, bro, while you were sitting here teleporting, I was smacking you up. I know your health bar hit 0. You're dead. This is bullshit.
Yeah. So he does leave. And yeah, that's really, I mean, that is like executive. It's a long way around. Yeah.
This is where you get the personalized lightsaber color thing. So in one of the rooms, there is a, like, whatever they call a sword, the laser sword is sitting on a desk. Mm-hmm. I pick it up and I'm like, okay, this is the one where you can change the color. I'm like, cool. So I go to my interface, I'm changing the color interface. It's a different color sword, but it's not changing the color. I'm like, what's the deal? And I'm like, well, it was the color of the interface that I had when I picked it up. So I'm like, let's try this. My load was like right in the other room because I fucking quick save after every fucking door. So I load up the last save. I'm like, okay, let's change my interface to purple and pick it up. And then it changed the name of the weapon to some sword purple or something sword blue or green.
Oh, wow.
So
that is not worth it.
I got my purple lightsaber and Preston was happy at least at some point in this game. So I got that.
All right. That's very cool. I don't like the fact that you had to have it.
That's what I thought too. I'm like, people aren't going to notice it, and then you pick it up. It's going to be whatever color interface you have. I'm like, it'd be cool if like you just change it, but that's a choice, I guess. That
is cool though that you were able to reload that save and do it. That's neat. So next up is engineering. After we fought Diego, we go to explore engineering because we have decided that we really need to destroy the antenna. So we've jettisoned the groves.
Well, you have to do it
destroy the 4 antenna.
Activate something in his office.
Yes. Yeah.
No. Hold on. So before you can get to the antennas, you have to fix the relay that is broken in maintenance.
Yes.
Now,
and that actually, I don't know about you guys. So in order to do that, this is the cardinal part of maintenance, right? So we only did the center square. This is where you have to go north, south, east, west. I found it. I luckily picked the right direction and found it in seconds. I still explored all other hallways. I found it near fucking immediately. It was like, and I go,
the last spot in the last one.
That also happened to me, but let me tell you why. So mine, remind me again, Alex, what was the grove that was already jettisoned?
Gamma.
Thank you. I assumed when I was doing my exploring, because we haven't been able to jettison yet, we have to get the relay to be able to do it, to come back up into his office to do it. So all the 3 groves that we were into were still intact at this point.
Oh, so you were thinking Gamma wouldn't be there, wouldn't matter.
Why would it be? It's in space. So I go around to Alpha, Beta, and Delta, and I'm like looking. I've killed everything. I've killed everything on this fucking floor. And I sat there and I was like, 1, 2, okay. And I'm going through the map. I'm checking I'm like, every single one of these is green with no error. I don't know what the fuck is going on here. And I'm like, I'm going crazy. And so finally, after an hour and a half, I was like, all right, fuck this. I have to look this up.
An hour and a half. You didn't even think to go in the other side? Okay.
No, because why would I? Because it's in space. You already told me.
Because you had been at it for an hour. That's why you would have.
I know, but I just was like, it's not there. It's gone. Why would the game? It should be gone. What good is a maintenance carriage when there's nothing to maintain? It would all go at the same time. Yeah, and so I'm like, and so then I look it up and they're like, yeah, so you have to check all 4. And I'm like, all 4? There's one that's already. They're like, yeah, it's the maintenance bay is still there, even though the Grove got jettisoned. Okay. So I go over to Gamma, the door opens, and I'm like, you cocksucking mother. I was so fucking mad, dude. I open the door, I popped a berserk patch, and I was like, everything's dying in one hit. I walk in, womp, womp, I'm cutting through these people. Everybody's dead. And then I go through the whole thing, and I'm like, ooh, if it's not in here, I'm going to delete this game. I was like, I'm going to lose my mind. And the very last spot, I see the little thing, and I was like, yank that thing out and put it in. I was like, oh, what you got coming, Edward Diego? I'm taking out all this frustration on you.
I luckily, like I said, I just went down the right side. I took a left. I took a right, and boom, it was there. I was like, oh,
well,
cool.
All
now
I'm saying is,
Lucky
I don't
you.
think I'm out of line to assume that the thing that you told me got shot off into space, anything attached to it would also go into space.
So
But-
that's valid. So I had the other
We'll also get to the point
problem.
later in this playthrough where the game has just
talk-
lied to you the whole time.
We'll talk. So the problem that I had with it, and I went to all four because I found it so quickly. I was like, cool, maybe there's more I need to do, because I had marked either in maintenance or the floor below. I forget where you find these green codes. When you find them, you go up a ladder with a guy that was hoarding them. There's 7 of them there.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, well, how many am I going to need? So I had 3 or 4 on me, right?
Sure.
So I ran around to see if there was more than one error. There wasn't. So I did them all,
when you
right?
run the diagnostic thing, it says there's one bad one. There's one demodulator that needs to be replaced.
Sure. I just thought it was weird that you would put that many in one area and only need the one.
You want to know why?
So
I bet you it's because people would pick it up and then lose it.
drop it.
If you left one, somebody would pick it up and then be like, I don't know what this is for, but fuck it. And then they'll drop it in medical or some shit.
There's
when
something
they're
that you can
running
get
backwards.
that will pop up on your map, things you've dropped, and if something goes
Yeah.
outside the world, it'll go into one of those chutes. It's
The trash chute against the
trash chute,
reactor.
yeah. So that's where it'll go if it goes outside the map.
Interesting.
If there's only one thing you can do to mess up, which is if you make it to a certain area without the explosives, without blowing up all the antennas,
sure,
you
yeah.
will soft lock yourself out of the game.
Incredible.
But none of us, I told you guys that previously,
you guys
hold
don't
4
worry.
of those
Yeah.
explosives and it wasn't a problem. But yeah, that's the only thing that'll soft lock you out of the game. Everything else can be reattained. So, so now once we jettison everything, we head up to engineering, see what's going on. By this point, traversing the station of my floor and below is pretty easy. I've got 0 security on every floor, everywhere so far. So if I do need to go back to a med bay or whatever, pretty smooth sailing, easy peasy, right? It's
maybe.
the only thing I wish is we could mark the elevators a little bit better so I knew which elevators went to which floors, right?
Yeah.
But otherwise, I haven't had an issue with that. I haven't had an issue with that. So as soon as we get into engineering, we have some different audio logs. One from Bianca Schuyler. It doesn't really matter. She's like, I'll destroy you if it's the last thing I do. I'm the last of the resistance. Okay, Bianca, whatever. She does confirm that the robots massacred everybody, and she says, hey, I have a chipset the resistance has been working on to help us defeat Shodan. I'm going to keep it with me. I only need to get through the defenses on the bridge and through security, and I can put this in the computer, and what it's going to allow me to do is see the jack that I need to physical plug into to find Shodan's lair, because right now it's just moving all along. So we have to get that chipset off of her body. The other thing we find out is what we know, Shodan's taken over, right? And Arnold Hessman says, I think everybody's dead. There's no choice but to blow the reactor. We got to melt down the reactor and kill everybody. He's like, maybe if I'm lucky, I can do that, and I can even get to the escape pod. So, right? We have some pretty simple objectives. We got to find Shodan in her lair, get the chipset, find her, beat her, as well as blow up the place, and then make it to an escape pod and leave. I know where the escape pods are. I found them. I hope you guys do too. Christian doesn't remember the hallway we talked about, so maybe he will, maybe he won't. Probably look up a guide.
I'm okay with that.
I told Alex today, he said to
I'll
me,
just
I said,
die.
whatever. I was like, if I blow up on the station with Shodan, that's cool with me too. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I remember where they are. And here's what I'm going to say about this. I don't know. I haven't looked it up, so I truly don't know the end. They're very close to a specific elevator. Like when you make it to the right floor, they're not far off
I don't
from like
remember
the
the floor, but I
elevator that
remember
you.
you talking about them and me going, "Oh, those weren't just
Yeah.
bathrooms." Yeah.
Right. They're very close to the elevator, which makes me believe that there is going to be a timer.
You're gonna have to
To when
run
you
through,
beat Shodan.
hit some elevators, go all the way down.
That's
I've-
what I bet.
I've
I don't
gotten
know. I'm just.
I've gotten bits and pieces of this series just through osmosis over the years. I don't ever remember anybody saying anything like that. I'm not saying there isn't.
Yeah, I
just-
don't know.
I feel like both games always end specifically with Shodan, and then various hijinks happen from there. I don't know, but we'll see when we get there. I have no idea.
It's interesting to me that you would like make a point to call that out, and you're going to try and escape and put the escape pods not far from an elevator that takes you to the floor. Now, I doubt. Who knows? Like maybe we'll get lucky when you get to Shodan's area on the top floor, and they'll open up an elevator at every floor. That would be
Preston's
great. I
like,
doubt it.
there's plenty of things about this game that I don't fucking understand. That I don't know why somebody
Yeah.
would do so.
Yeah. So, in on this floor, there's not a whole lot, right? In these two floors, like there's more skulls to find if you
Yeah, the whole point of engineering is that we're just supposed to be
blow the
going
antenna.
through and blow the antenna, all four antenna
Which-
up, and then leave.
I'll talk about that in just a second, but you can find the railgun at one point if you want. I found it and put it in the cargo hold. I felt that's a weapon that like I'll put on me towards some of the end boss fights just in case. Maybe I'll need it, maybe I won't, but I figure it's high damage.
Well-
you can get the boots
Yeah.
version 3 if you
Yep.
want.
I got those. Yeah.
Those will also help you if you want to go find the skulls. I have continued to find both in this last playthrough and one before it completely organically.
I found two during this playthrough.
Did you? Yeah, they're usually just up, right? So like when you make it to areas that have like a little T-shaped hallway, very small.
It's
and you're
always
like,
when-
well, I can't go this way. I can't go this way. Okay.
It's always when I'm looking for something else. Like I'm trying to find a way. Like how do I get over here? What do I do? And then I'm like, oh, maybe it's up here. I jump up and I see the stupid fucking skull, and I'm like, ugh. I click on it. I'm like, it's not what I wanted. I'm trying to go somewhere.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think I'm at 4 or 5. So, but apparently for some of the others, you need the boots to get like way, way, way up high.
Not trying that
again.
hard.
I will before I get to the point of no return. I will look up
Which
a
is
guide
now,
and find
by
the
the way.
last ones that I don't have. There's one other thing you can get that will pop an achievement if you've gotten everything else. So they're version 2 of the boots, version 2 of the sensor, and so on. One of the introduction to the new hard monster is this big mutant with huge claws that wears this
It's a
like
Doom
laser
enemy.
thing on his head. What is it?
It's a Doom enemy.
It is a Doom enemy.
It looks like a
straight
Cyberman.
up. Yeah. The first one you kill in engineering will drop the cybernetic vision sensor 3, and if
Yeah.
you've gotten all the other stuff to this point, the EnviroSuit 2 and all, it'll pop an achievement, which you guys
Yeah.
probably have, I would assume.
I think so.
Yeah, it pops an achievement just for finishing it all out. It's crazy. I have all these things. I've used the boots are always on, and I've used the EnviroSuit. I have not touched a single one of the
Nope.
other things that I've picked up.
Like, oh, this
I've
one will
used
show the
the
weakness.
shield.
This one will do that. Yeah.
Now I'm playing on a different difficulty than you guys, but I've used the shield a couple times when I'm trying to, if I know I don't want to burn a health pack, but I want to get to like a I'm trying to get somewhere, and I know that I'm going to encounter people on the way there. I turn it on for that. Otherwise, I barely use it.
Yeah, I haven't used anything else other than EnviroSuit. So I just wanted to quickly talk about two things here. One being the blowing up the antenna. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. Run over, bam, slap it on. But there was one. There was just
Piece of shit.
one. If
you did a good job.
So there's one that has a red door that you cannot get through without doing a puzzle. Now, it's the same hacking puzzle that's in this game.
That I'm horrible at.
I could be wrong. I'm not bad at them. I can't do it in 10 seconds.
Here's
Right.
the thing. I have it on good authority that apparently you are supposed to be able to hide where that little puzzle is and survive the explosion.
Well, that's not true because I was in the puzzle twice and died.
Yeah. Oh, me too. But there are videos of people who find the right spot to sit in and they survive.
Well, it doesn't matter because there's a med bay in that same floor. So I'm like, cool. Well, it doesn't matter if
The
I got
best
stuck
part
in there.
about that,
Tom's
though,
got
is that the
revived.
med bay respawns you, and you go back there being like, do I... And the door's still blocked because you never... It's like, okay, I guess I just can't get in there. Like, whatever...
And I'm fine with that.
And you just... That's it.
I died the first time because I didn't think it'd kill me. So I died the first time. I was like, okay, that's on me. It'll kill me. Second time I ran over there and I was like, this is going to be hard to do in 10 seconds. But I go, maybe... I know this probably is true. Maybe if I interact with it and get into the puzzle, it's almost like happening so quickly it'll pause it 10 seconds. Also wrong. I had one of the keys on me, so I immediately ran over and
know what?
shoved the
Yeah,
key
you could
in.
probably do
It
that.
auto hacked it and I ran out.
I've
How
never
did
used
you
one of
guys
those.
do it?
I
So
died.
what'd you
Just
do,
let it blow
Preston?
up. You just let it blow up, die, and then come back.
And it
it's
revives you on that
solved.
same floor, and the thing is already blown up, so you don't have to worry about
Oh,
Nothing-
you
when
guys
you-
just
when
let
you-
it blow up. Okay.
Yeah.
When you respawn in a med bay, everything is exactly how you...
No.
This is what I was telling you guys during the first playthrough. Like,
it. Oh yeah,
It's...
you told
yeah.
me that has been a godsend for all this. I'm like, cool.
Yeah, everything is left the
Grab a
exact same how you
BRB,
left it.
motherfucker.
Including enemy health. Exactly. Okay, you got me. I'll be back to get my lick back. Like that's I'm
full energy.
I
and
just
everything.
loved it. It took me a minute when you guys were talking about it. I didn't really press you. You're just so casual about it. I was like, well, how'd you do it? You're like, oh, I just died. No, I had one of the keys on me. Luckily, I always keep one. And I haven't used any at all this game. And I ran by. It was just like, oh, okay. Boom. Jammed it in and got right out. I was like, oh, that was easy. And
Blow up,
luckily, it was the
leave.
only one that
Okay.
needed it. So,
Totally forgot about that. Thing.
That's-
yeah. I got one of them hanging out, but
yeah, you blow up, it blows up, you die, and then you go, okay, thanks, Shodan, and then you go back and do the other three.
probably helped me by getting me closer to the elevator. So thanks.
Honestly, when it happened, I said, I ran back and I was like, oh, that actually was a help because now I can go back to the core and jump to the other ones, and I don't. Thanks for cutting down on that travel time, Shodan. I appreciate you.
so funny. Okay. Fair enough.
And I love it, like she's like, it's like a diehard thing too, where she's like, why don't you stay a while and hang out? And you're
exactly.
like, okay. Hilarious
Okay.
80s comedy reference.
So, this is where we had a bit of a discrepancy, and this comes with not having great objectives. So this is where I
stopped.
ended. So I made it to the elevator where I needed to go, and I stopped. And it sounds like Preston did too. There was though, regardless of how far you went or stopped, there was an audio log. Preston, this is story based, so as soon as you blow them up, you get an audio cue. Did you
Sure
listen to
do.
the audio cue?
I
Do you
sure
remember what it
fucking
said?
did.
What did it say?
There's all these CPUs that have these codes right next to them that you should probably have when you get to this area for this passcode. I'm like, sure fucking didn't. And guess what? Those are all random too. So lucky me
So-
gets to spend some time just going through the whole of
Hold on before
fucking game
Christian
again.
cuts in here. Yeah, so it says, hey, Shodan or whoever's talking, they're like, you're going to need a code. She's like, I've made a code, the single digit from all the CPU cores on floors 1 through 6. Lucky me has been blowing up everything.
So have I.
And so
Same.
the first one I blew up and I wrote it down, right? Remember, I tell you, as I finish these sections, I go back and watch a video. After that first video that I watched, even though I wrote it down, they're like, hey, you need to write down all of these. That was what I was going to tell you, Preston, a couple of weeks ago when you go, no, nobody tell me. I was going to say, hey, just an easy hint. There's a number that shows up. You might want to capture it. But Preston goes, no. Nobody give me any hints.
Lucky
Now,
for
to be
me,
fair-
I have B-roll that I can just go through and find out where those things are. Hopefully, I looked at the code.
To be fair, yeah, you should do that. Absolutely,
should
you
do that, yes.
Do you think going through all that B-roll would
fair-
take you less time
Yes,
than just running to
yes,
each of the
Possibly,
floors?
Yes,
but to be
yes,
fair,
yes.
this episode's B-roll is 7 hours long, so I don't know how much I want to go through here. My last playthrough was just over 7 hours
So
long.
the engineer.
This floor
that
doesn't have one.
I
That
know,
one doesn't have it.
I know,
Okay.
but also I have to hope that I actually looked in the direction of the code after I blew
You
them
do.
up.
I would just skim. I would
Well, you
just
will,
skim.
because it's every room has a code on every wall. So
Okay,
like,
so I should
be able to
if
see
you, if
them.
you
No
blow up the
way you didn't
CPUs,
see- yeah.
they
That
should
and,
be
like,
on one
if
of
I
them.
do have to go back, those rooms are pretty well like choreographed in the map because you see those little
Nope.
circles. You should see the circles.
because those are gone after you blow them up.
So it's not even grayed out circles.
Nope.
Fuck that.
They're just square rooms.
But
I
I'll
promise you,
look up the
Preston.
map online and we'll be fine if I have to.
I would just try to. I would scrub.
I'm
through your
going to
footage
scrub first, but
But So
Makes
I
it
can take
work.
over here because I did this. So the reason I kept going was because I was like, oh, well, this is still technically part of engineering. I'm going to do everything until I'm supposed to go to the security floor, so I'll go do this.
I didn't think about it because I didn't know. They don't say you have to go to reactor now. So I was like, well, maybe I can go to security, come to reactor later, which is why I stopped. But I get the confusion there because it wasn't.
yeah,
I
just
stopped because I didn't
assumed-
have the codes. So I'm like, I'm not doing this right now. I'm 7 hours
I assume
in.
that
I'll do it
because
next
I
time.
I assume that because I got the notice on engineering, that it still
I would
counted
have.
as part of engineering.
Yeah.
So I was just like, all right, I'll keep going. So I can take this part. It's very quick. I realized that, and I said, this game is gonna make me backtrack through all these fucking floors, and I was like, all right. So on we go. So you do fucking flight deck to maintenance to storage to research to medical to all of it. You have to find 6 individual numbers that make up a 6-digit code, then cross over on the research level to get to the one elevator that will actually take you to the reactor level. Get to reactor, go down, go through the irradiated zone, open up a lever that pulls down the fucking heat shield. Then you can go take the grav lift all the way up and then input a code while you're floating in gravity to then hit the switch. Now, this is not clear. There is a switch to switch back the gravity lift to let you go down, and there's a lever that actually starts the countdown. Or not the countdown, but the whatever the sequence, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
You can leave there without pulling that lever, and you will have to go all the way back down and pull that lever. There's nothing you can do
Did
about it.
you do that?
No, but I just
Okay.
I noticed it as I was going down, where I was like, oh man, because I pressed it thinking it was the button, and then when I pulled it and I kept floating there, I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked around and saw the other button. I was like, okay. I was like, boy, if I'd have seen that one first, I'd have been pretty pissed. So I'm saying it now on the off chance that especially Preston sees that button first and he doesn't pull the lever and he doesn't find a way to delete this game from our Steam library collectively.
I was like, could you imagine if you went through all the floors, got the code, then put it in, and then left without starting the sequence back up to security?
Now,
watch the
here's
playthrough.
where my irritation came in. I really wasn't that upset about the backtracking. It was
No, it's
irritating,
fine,
but I was like, whatever. It's this game, and it's
Cleared out those areas.
you.
Hopefully. Oh yeah.
So you clear out all the areas, and it makes the jaunt to this very enjoyable. You're like, oh, there's nobody here and nothing around. La-di-da-di-da. Nobody can touch me. Nobody can do anything. The second that you prime it, Shodan says, okay, if I'm going to die, or she says, you're the most annoying insect I have ever met, like, on this station, and if I'm going to die, then the least I can do is make sure that I take you with me. And I'm like, well, good luck with that, because I have 0% on every floor. You can't do anything, except that the game has now said that doesn't matter anymore.
Oh no. Great.
And no matter how much you've done, there will be enemies ambushing you at every turn, on every corner, on your way back to these elevators. Now, it should be noted, I'm playing on normal. I don't know how this is going to go for you guys, but for me, every single enemy I saw was a cyber demon.
Okay.
Dude, the game, I mean, we've talked about uneasy. It's not easy.
No.
Like, we still die.
Now, to be fair, I
Yeah.
finally got the flow of it to where I'm feeling really good going through that. Like EMP grenades here, got a assault rifle with the blue ammo. If you're fleshy, I give it the red ammo.
My SMG with the anti-personnel
Scorpion.
tears through everything. Yeah.
Yeah, so what I had happen was, as I see that, I'm like, well, then what the fuck was the point of me doing this if all that's going to happen is on my way back to all these elevators, I'm just going to be getting shot with lasers everywhere that I turn because these cyber demons won't stop chasing me. I make it all the way up top. I get back to engineering, and I'm like, okay. I just need to get back to this elevator so I can go to security and move on. And this entire time, I'm concerned because there's alarms going off being like, you're going to blow this bitch up. but nothing happens. Like, there's no timer, there's no anything. So you just, like, I could have let that game could still be running right now, and nothing would happen. Like, it would not explode on you. So you can take your time. You don't have to rush like I did. That being said, as soon as I open the elevator on engineering, a cyber demon is there to greet me and just lasers me in the fucking face and kills me. And at first I was pissed. But then I realized that because I had made it to engineering, it teleported me forward into the level where the medbay was. And I was like, appreciate you, big dog. That was good looking out. Thank you. Hopped in, got my charge, got my redo on the medbay thing. And I was like, all right, sweet. I left, made it to the elevator, hit security, and then the doors open. I hit exit and save. Now, as a heads up, whatever items you want to bring with you,
Have on you.
because the second you step outside of security, you're done. You're never getting back to those other points, and there will not be any med bays going forward.
I knew it was a point of no return, so I will go backwards from each floor, but I'm going to do the stupid skulls just to get them that I haven't got before I go down the reactor. So that's good to know.
Preston's like, good, someone's got to do it. It's not going to be me. Preston, I'll tell you guys both this. On keyboard, I don't know what it is on controller, if they have a key map for it. But I know you're playing keyboard and mouse, Preston, so I'll tell you. Mash F5 like a motherfucker, because
I'm already doing that now. Like every door I open,
It's
like
F5.
boom, door, boom,
Yeah.
door, boom.
F5 is quick
save.
save. It's the keybind for quick save.
Oh, okay.
So the reason you want to do that here is because since there's no med bays anymore, you get a game over screen every single time that you die in this next
So
zone.
it'll just be like the part one
So-
for me then. Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I'm ready for it. Thank you.
Sure.
Though. Thank you though.
Yeah, I just
Appreciate
giving you
the
heads
heads
up,
up,
letting you
dog.
know.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Good looking.
But so that's it. That's and now we've got security and we've got bridge, and then that's the game.
Yeah. That is the game. So
That's
interesting.
Dallas.
Interesting about you're not getting back. So now it does make me wonder about the race to the maybe
That's why
you're
I
not gonna be able to
didn't
get back
say
there
it.
then, right?
I saved
yeah.
it for this moment, but that's what I was is like, unless they randomly open up the elevators again and make you have a chase sequence,
There's probably a pod
or
in
a
that
time
area,
sequence.
area.
I don't really see why you would do that, but I don't know. Maybe they do, but for right now, that shit is shut off. You can't do anything down there. So.
Well, yeah, that brings us to the end of this playthrough. I cannot.
We're not done
wait.
yet.
Or this part.
Not done
We have
yet.
one more.
Preston, we're not done yet. My hell is still here.
Wait to have this conversation at the end of it with Preston. I think I'll be interested to see what happens because we're playing on easy combat. So I'm wondering, like, I have a guess on Shodan, right? Like, if it was just a normal battle, I would just go in with my sword and just like and I feel like it'd probably be pretty disappointing. Like, just go all of that just to like take this.
I'm not
but I
gonna
feel like
say
it's probably a
anything.
You're gonna
cyberspace
fight
battle
Diego
because
again,
she's
for sure.
This
this
part
but I
do
feel like it's just gonna be a
know-
cyberspace battle.
This part I do know
fun.
just from osmosis, so I won't say anything. It is not exactly what you would expect.
Okay, that's good.
So that's all I'll say.
Yeah, it's
Hopefully.
good to know. Cool. And then next week, I will also be bringing my compare board of
There you go.
Bioshock and System Shock, right? With all the comparisons. Here's the interesting thing about this, too. This doesn't exist online. I actually thought, like, I would help myself out after I started making a list and go, like, somebody else
Oh, sure.
has to have played these and been like,
Comparisons,
their
right?
stuff
They're pretty obvious.
here, right?
No one's made an article for it.
Nobody on Reddit.
All right.
Nobody on Reddit.
Well, Phil,
like you'd think if anywhere it'd be
write an
freaking
article
Reddit.
and go hit out to Kotaku,
Right?
and then you'll be fine. You'll make some money. Be freelance for
And then
that.
you make sure that when you put this out, we'll just make sure we at Ken Levine.
Well, write an article to Kotaku, like
Yeah, freelance for him.
Alex written by Alex Slaughter, op-ed by Alex Slaughter, co-host of the Testing Room. Kevin Levine is a fraud. That's just
Yeah.
all it's gonna say.
That's the title. That's the title.
My life is a lie. The man I've loved and idolized for so long has betrayed me deeper than anybody I know.
Yeah, one trick pony. Anyway, cool. So we have one more part. Can't wait to dive into it. I do think this one, Preston, this has to be shorter than 7 hours.
I know.
This one
I know.
has to.
It's fine.
Has
it's
to
okay.
be.
I don't
So
hate the
this
game
one will be
that
quick.
much. It's just
Yeah, this one will be quick. I will continue to sing the praises of Night Dive. I watched a video the other
great.
day of the old game and the new game side by side. I didn't even recognize the old game. Holy shit. Like, they're so much different. Good on them. But anyway, with that, we had a big, long week. Hope
Did.
everybody else is having a good week. And we will catch you next time. So, can't wait. With that, Preston, you know what to do.
hit it.
Humans interfacing with computers.
For their own entertainment. The very notion disgusts me.
Look upon my works, foul creatures.
And weep at its magnificence.
Thank you for listening to another episode of The Testing Room. To catch up on past episodes or check out the newest ones when they drop, follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. If watching is more your thing, check out youtube.com/thetestingroom or Twitch TV/testingroompod. To leave comments and ask questions, follow us on Instagram @testingroompod and email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. See you next time.